up for Cyber Lunch.
Yeah, Destiny is getting that way too. Every time I turn around, there's a big update for it.
The next gen consoles all have 1 terabyte standard, right?
I think so, but I don't know for 100% yet. I don't know what Xbox.
And
has.
how much space is that going to take up just for the OS alone? That's, you know, and then you start talking about games, and games are going to be huge. So
Xbox probably do more on the operating system because they want to be more of a home entertainment hub, whereas PlayStation will do the streaming and stuff, but they don't care about interfacing with cable TV or anything like that.
Well, Xbox tried that, and they said, you know,
it didn't really work out, right?
No, in a really bad way. Pretty much, they were like, "Hey, your Xbox needs to be connected to an internet connection or have an internet connection all the time." And if it doesn't, go buy a 360. That's what the president said, or somebody said. Like,
yeah, shortly after that, he was replaced by Phil Spencer, though.
Yep.
So, and Phil Spencer's been killing it. So,
guy's a dick.
I think this will be the first generation I get both systems.
I don't need to play Halo on the next gen shit because it's. I don't know.
It's true for me as well. I only got PlayStation. I didn't get Xbox. Last time I got 360 and PS3 at one point or another. What was the years for 360 though? That was like quite a long time, right?
It was at least every life cycle is like 6-7 years, depending.
That was like
I think 360 lasted 10 though. I think that was one of the longer ones.
It feels like because I was like all the way through college, and then I got the PlayStation like almost after college or something. Once they had so many good titles, I just couldn't say no. Plus, they get cheap, so cheap.
I never bought a PlayStation 3 because it was too goddamn expensive.
Same, and I didn't like the controller.
With, right?
No, I hated the controller.
Yeah.
The controller is not much different nowadays. I don't pretty much.
It's a little wider. It feels more ergonomic to me personally. It had an 8-year run. 360. I just googled it. It had an 8-year run. So
when did it start?
I just like Xbox controllers because the staggered sticks. I think that makes a huge difference.
Is it 8 or something? It must have been 7 or 6. Right? I played it in my dorm, so
I'm looking it up.
Back in like 2007, so it's got to be like 2006 or 7. Right?
I'm buying the new Xbox because I want the best hardware.
Yeah,
buy a PC.
I haven't seen the comparison in terms of like this.
It came out November 22nd, 2005.
Jeez.
So she's old.
That's quite a while.
I bet.
Star Hero 2, that was awesome.
There are a ton of really good titles on that thing. Oh, everybody eat. Did you eat,
playing
Jake?
through Alan Wake yesterday, huh?
Did you eat anything?
Earlier I did. When we're done, I'll eat again.
Sounds good.
My stomach is still killing me. My fucking nose is killing me from that goddamn swab.
Oh, really? Did it hurt?
Dude, it was really uncomfortable. It wasn't like getting a shot or anything, but it was really uncomfortable.
Did it make your eyes water or something?
Oh, fuck. That thing goes all the way from here, all the way to the back of your fucking back here.
We have the same glasses. Hold on a minute.
Pretty close.
No,
he's got a thicker frame.
Yeah.
Your glasses are dirty, dude. How the hell do you even see out of those things?
You know what?
Get some glasses cleaner.
Let's get used to it.
That's what happens when you wear glasses all the time. They get gross.
You don't think about it.
You don't.
Only time it bothers me is when there's a smudge like right fucking there when I'm trying to look at my TV. Oh, Darrell, I've been playing through the Surge too.
Yep.
I've been following this guy's playthrough because I don't have time to spend 80 hours on this game. And I was like having tons of fun, and I got to this boss. I'm just like, God damn it.
You quit?
I don't know if I want to do this. Well, I haven't quit. I'm going to go back. I'll probably play it
Phil
tonight.
would probably like that game then, if he likes those type of games.
Really like it. Yeah, if you like Dark Souls, Phil, this is Surge is awesome. It's like a futuristic Dark Souls.
Is it the Surge or the Surge or
The Surge? Yep.
It's Surge, that drink.
Surge
Yeah.
2?
The Surge 2 is what I'm playing. It's free on game. Oh, you don't have Xbox. Never mind.
Wah wah.
Yeah, I was looking. It's on Steam for $40.
Oh, that's a lot. But I think you'd get a lot of hours out of it. But you can play the first one is good, but it's a
Devil
little...
May Cry 3 or 5.
Five. Yeah.
That's good.
I tried playing Devil May Cry 3 remake, remaster on PS3, and it's very tough. The baseline difficulty is basically hard mode, and there's no checkpoints. You have to do a whole mission, killing a boss. So it's like 10-minute run back to bosses.
This isn't that bad. The world is really set up, and the Surge is set up very, very well, and how everything connects with each other. But if you don't know where you're going, like I said, I'm using that guy's walkthrough at Fighting Cowboy, I think his name is. He like plays through the whole thing. I've used his. That's how I ended up beating Bloodborne. I ended up having to go back and see how he would beat these bosses because I just couldn't fucking figure it out.
Yeah, I think like Sekiro to me is the game that you most benefit from, like watching someone online who's already figured out the weakness or what's good, you know.
Yep.
Compared to almost any other game, that game without looking stuff up online is almost.
The drunk dude in that freaking burning village really pissed me off on freaking Sekiro, and I think that's probably almost where I quit. I just couldn't play that game. It was just too fucking. My hands are not that fast anymore.
My freaking shit. Revisit that later in like a dream or something, or it's like a flashback dream anyway.
Yeah, that's where you face Lady Butterfly.
Except there's elite ninjas and the drunk guy.
Oh Jesus! No, wait, that's who it was. Darrell was Lady Butterfly. That's where I quit.
Oh yeah. You can actually do that like a lot later in the game too, and so most people recommend coming back to it later. That may have been part of it. That's another thing. If you didn't look it up online, you wouldn't know that you could just skip that whole part, except for getting like the fire or getting the axe and just come back. So, they just like to not tell you stuff, and it can.
Yeah, Surge is kind of like that too. They don't explain much enough, and then it's nice though because you can kind of, it's the same thing as Dark Souls. Run around and grind on the same guys, and then go save and grind and save, and just gradually build yourself up. But it's not that. It's a lot of fun. The combat's really cool. You can target like each individual body part. Like if you need armor or leg armor, you can cut their arms or legs off or their heads off or their bodies in half and take their parts. It's pretty cool. You get this little mech suit. Yeah, it's fun.
All right, I'll let Darrell keep on schedule here.
Oh, no, it's all good. Let's see here.
Dude, this is what we go through every week. We get on and then it's like an hour before we start.
Yeah, but I didn't want to use up all our... we're sticking mostly to The Last of Us today.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Is there any way you can scoot the computer a little closer to you so you're a little louder? Because I'm having a problem.
Or it might be my arm. Is that any better?
Not really.
You are kind of quiet.
And
you can turn my volume up individually in Discord if you want. If you right-click me, you can just do user volume and then bring me up.
You're at 200% right now. Can you go into Discord and make yourself make it more sensitive?
Yeah, I think so. Input volume. Is that what I want?
What post?
She's like, hey, here's a new... What do you think about this for the new fire pit? And it is a giant fucking Death Star that's like half constructed.
Oh, so I did see those on Facebook.
Yeah. Dude, $3,100. I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that.
No.
And there was a giant AT-AT fucking grill.
That's really cool, though. Yeah, you'd have to play the Imperial March every single time.
Every time you go out there, it'd have to be playing in the background.
Phil, I would go to Discord, go to Preferences, go to Voice and
video.
There we go. That's better. I'll be right back.
I think that's almost too much. Try it now again.
For me?
Yeah.
Is the volume better?
No, it's too hot. It's distorting. I'm sorry. This is how it is to do audio. This isn't easy. Trust me.
You suck.
You suck.
All right, is that any better?
That sounds good. That sounds good.
All right,
I just don't want.
between.
I just don't want you distorting. That's all.
Just like you and the putting. Porridge too hot, porridge too cold, porridge just right.
Well, yeah, and Jake is a little louder than you. Where did Jake go?
Oh, bathroom.
Okay. We're gonna get this thing rolling, I think. And
I can
as soon
hold
as he
for
comes
hours
back.
if I need to. Hey, we could hit up.
I wish we could hit up an old country buffet.
I'll settle for Golden Corral even. I've never been to Golden Corral, but Golden Corral sounds like it's a bootleg old country buffet.
So are you going to get Ghosts of Tsushima?
We're talking about going in on it and trading off so we can try it out right away. Might be the last great PS4 exclusive.
That's what they're saying.
The Last of Us was going to be the last great PS4 exclusive, but now it sounds like this might be. So, probably worth getting. But Darrell's not going to be able to play it this weekend anyway.
Yeah, that's why.
Unless he's going to sneak a generator and a TV and a PlayStation up there.
Well, I do have a TV up there. Should I?
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, this TV is like, I think it's 12 inches screen to screen, but it's mounted inside my mom and dad's cabin or like camper. I'm like, really? Why did you even mount that? Like, you could hold that in your hand.
Should be good enough for the stealth style gameplay.
That'd be so funny.
I still want to play Death Stranding still.
Yeah. Darrell's got my copy.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if it was cool if I borrowed it from him.
Months. Yeah, that's fine.
I'm really good with stuff.
I don't know if he's ever going to play it. So he played a little bit, but
I'm probably not going to finish it.
Did you even fight the squid, the inky squid thing?
Yeah, I put about 12 hours into it.
You fought the squid, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lion squid inky thing though. It's tougher later, so.
Well, I throw it to the ground.
I'm a fan of grindy games like that. That's why I like Destiny so much. I just grind.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Metal Gear Solid 5 where you can see that there's a outcome and there's things you're going to get for grinding out the missions and side quests. Like, you're going to get upgraded equipment that you can buy and use, and you don't necessarily have a home base like you do in Metal Gear Solid 5, but I don't know if you played that before. But
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of that. I mean, it's obviously the same creator, so it's going to be some similarities. But yeah, it's once you get the robot legs and the vehicle, then you're really
robot legs. That reminds me of Grandma's Boy.
Once you get that, then you can just move a lot faster. You don't fall down nearly as much. Early on, falling down can happen. It's kind of annoying.
How does it look? Does it look pretty good?
Oh yeah, it looks really good. Darrell, thoughts?
What are we talking about?
Death Stranding looks really good, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's really pretty. It reminds me of the game that dude was gonna create in Grandma's Boy, where he was just like walking around in a field. I am a genius. Beep 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 beep.
It's an old movie now. What is it? 2006?
Yeah, probably. You're dating me. I'm not that old.
Yeah. Your prime references are mid 2000s.
That is true.
I like one of my favorite parts of that movie is when he burns his hands in the oven and he's like, "God damn it!" and he's just like fucking looking at his hands.
Alex, what happened?
He gets a lion. It's a fucking lion. Wasn't there like he's like, I was gonna get a deer. It's like, no, don't get. Or no, the deer was a type of weed. Sorry. Oh yeah, he said, don't smoke the deer with the lion there. And the guy's like very serious. He's like, no, don't do that.
No,
don't smoke the deer.
Yeah, I forgot his name. Oh.
Chakalaka.
Yeah.
My grandma drank all my pot.
There's some great one-liners. I think that's up there with one of the best like B movie comedies ever, I would say.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that Nick? What's his face?
Nick Swartzen.
That's his.
Yeah.
That's the highlight for him. The DDR battle or something.
Yeah.
Jonah Hill got a foot in the door there before
Barry
Superbad.
sucked his first boobie for the first time, and everybody starts clapping in the cafeteria. He's like, for 13 hours. Thank you.
I forgot Jonah Hill was in that movie.
Yeah, that was like his might be the first bigger release he was in. That was
Definitely
big
a crude
Jonah Hill.
comedy. Definitely rated R, but
Yeah, I love the random Adam Sandler guys, like the quarterback from The Waterboy,
oh yeah.
and they didn't have the guy with the crazy voice. That guy, from what?
Yeah.
Where was that? Oh no, he was in there.
He
liked
was.
hookers.
I was trying to think.
forgot. He took the rent money and spent it on hookers.
Oh, that's right.
He's like,
Oh, yeah.
You're a hooker.
he's like, you have a problem. I know.
Oh my god.
Their banter was, that was it. I don't think he showed up again, but that guy. Whatever happened to him?
Who knows?
Every time Adam Sandler makes a fucking garbage movie, they all get like $10 million. So I'm sure they're doing pretty good.
Yeah. And he could have been a great voice actor, I could put him in anything.
Never know, he might be.
Yeah, maybe. All right, Darrell, you ready?
I actually am like kind of nervous because this game, I'm like reliving it. It puts me in a mode where I'm just like, all right, this is what's gonna happen. I recorded most of that.
I don't care.
That was good. I like it. All right. Well, I think we're gonna start. Let's see here. I'm pulling it up.
I got.
So, if you didn't know, it's been a long time coming. This game came out, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago now? At this point, I live in...
June 22nd.
Yep. So, not that long. We're going to do a full-on spoiler cast. So, from this point on, if you have not played even The Last of Us 1 or The Last of Us 2, please leave now. Politely.
Unless that's your thing.
Unless that's your thing and you literally want, it's not like every single minute like smirk and detail of a character, but it goes pretty in depth. I do skip over some instances that I deem that they could have cut from the game myself and try to stick to most of the main beats. These are my personal notes that follow the story step by step for the most part. I apologize if some of the information seems redundant. However, this is not only a play-by-play, but also my written reactions as I navigated one of the deadliest landscapes in video game history. Thank you ahead of time for tuning in. If you're ready for a deep dive into The Last of Us Part 2.
Can't do the guitar part.
Guitar.
Yeah, guitar.
Hang on. Tonight is a very special night because we have, for not very the first time, but the first time in a long time, other than Eric, which shouldn't be listening to this, because if he is, he should turn this shit off right now and wait the proper amount of time.
Yeah, finish that shit, Eric.
We have a special guest tonight, my cousin, Phil. Give it up for Phil.
What's up, Phil?
Good to be here, everybody. Glad to
Thanks
come
for doing
on and
it.
talk about some video games.
Thanks, man.
Share my experience with Last of Us 2 with everyone.
Well, welcome to the show. We do this with every guest, but we gotta ask, what is a game and movie that you would say best describes your personality?
Tough one.
Put you on the spot right away. Jay can sing to you in the meantime while you think.
Think
I don't sing.
only
you do.
Last of Us guitar songs.
Yes.
Maybe
We can't technically play it because then we'll get
copyright.
yeah, exactly.
You can hum it, and it's close enough where they copyright infringe you. It's
Ding
probably
ding
like
ding ding ding.
that's enough. That'll get you.
Ding,
All right,
ding,
when it comes to a movie, I was thinking about Deadpool.
Deadpool, all
1.
right. A classic splicing, pun intended, of humor and horror in a way.
There's some of that where it's guy tries to kind of make light of everything and make some things maybe shouldn't be appropriate into a joke, but has a good heart and
He's an
has
anti-hero, really, is he not?
Anti-hero. He has some of his own demons, but he he does it ultimately for the right reasons mostly, and just tries to make light of everything. So I can kind of relate to that. And then for the game, I put Tomb Raider, making Tomb Raider.
The OG one?
The remaster.
Oh, the one that would have came out on Xbox 360.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a great game.
For that, I'm thinking sometimes I feel like I'm riding solo, trying to do that deep dive into things, like the explore the tomb very in depth. So like that's kind of how I am sometimes with whatever topic I'm on. Do that in depth solo exploration.
You got to get everything.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a completionist.
Do you do achievements though?
Taking the time. I guess I'm not so much about necessarily getting like the platinum trophies all the time games, but
I get platinum trophies all the time, bro.
I know people who are like that. For sure. They're like, oh yeah, I'm going for the plat. I'm just like, dude, I don't care. I made it through the game. I saw the credits. I got nothing to prove.
I'd like to do the one very thorough playthrough, but not necessarily the replay to get the to pick up the loose trophies and whatnot. But those are the two that come to mind.
Well, thanks for coming on, man. Picks. Oh yeah, super solid picks. Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate you. Dr. Ian Malcolm said it best, life finds a way, and once again, we're remote just like your controller. I know you're here now, but don't go far. In your home, in your car, wherever you are, Cyber Lunch is with you. Thank you for making us a part of your week, and thank you for being a part of our community. Also, stay safe, stay active, be kind. I'm going to be guiding you tonight on this tangential journey through one of the darkest games in human history other than Manhunt, probably. I don't know if you guys agree with that statement, but... I
think Manhunt had more humor.
And Seaman, of course.
Let us not forget. It is July 15, 2020. I'm your host, Darrell.
I'm Jake.
And special guest.
Cousin Phil.
Phil. Welcome to Cyber Lunch, a weekly podcast that deals with nostalgia reflected and integrated into our everyday lives to growing up in the digital revolution, plus a plethora of tangents and passionate discussions with special guests, Phil, and our favorite music, movies, video games, and television shows of the past and today. Now... I know we already we had a snafu earlier. Both of you guys played the original game on PlayStation 3 and then on the remaster, so you guys played through 3 times? I know Phil probably twice.
I played at least 10 times. Yeah, I played at least 10 times, I think, of the first game.
That seems exaggerated, Jake. 10
it's
times?
Not exaggerated. Yeah, probably. It's one of my favorite games of all time.
If you really go through, it's only like a 10 to 14-hour game, right?
Yeah, and once you know where you're going, it only I probably could get through that in about 8 hours. Because I just know where everything is and what you got to do. So it's just run through. But I just love the story. I love the atmosphere. I love the music. I love everything about that first game.
So it definitely takes precedence over like The Walking Dead, something of that nature.
What do you mean?
Well, just... You've played the Walking Dead Telltale series. This, as far as story, which story would you prefer?
Oh, Last of Us.
Last of Us. It's tough because the original Walking Dead was really good and it deals with very similar issues. But the thing that makes The Last of Us so poignant, and I think is because everything's so grounded, and the real monsters that we're afraid of are other people in actuality, especially in this story.
Yeah.
Yeah, Walking Dead seems like there are people who are doing bad things in that time, but it's not nearly as just a terrible portrayal. They seem a little bit more sympathetic and like, they don't have a choice. Whereas The Last of Us, people seem to have things figured out, but they choose to still be monsters quite a bit.
I think Last of Us really represents what people might actually act like in that kind of upsetting if shit really went that bad, and how I think it more accurately depicts it. Because Walking Dead, even the show, Jesus, how long has the show been going on? 9 years. I could have walked across the United States in 9 years. So it's like, can we get to where we're going, please? Last of Us kind of goes right for the throat. Emotionally, everything.
Judging
what
by the
difficulty did you play on, Jake? Sorry,
What's that?
No,
did
you're
you
good.
play it all
You're
on
good.
normal? Did you ever play on hard or survivor or whatever, grounded?
The first time I played through it, I played normal, obviously, and then most times I play through on hard just because, like I said, I know exactly where everything. I mean, I can run through a building and know that guy's head's going to pop up right there and just take him out. I don't think I ever played through Survivor though. It's just too hard. Doesn't do me any.
A lot of
good to
bricks.
do it.
A lot of bricks.
Yep.
Bricks
and
are
bottles.
probably better than anything else in that mode.
Oh, yeah.
Difficulty.
Yeah, because you have no bullets at all. At all.
Yes. See, I'm not into that. I like the action part of the game too, the brutalness of the combat and stuff. I love that part.
Or you can just sneak through everything except for like 3 parts.
It's true.
Depending on
This
your
one you
style.
can kind of run through most of the areas.
Yeah.
if you want
And
to.
that's what I
They
did.
They gave you that option. Even in some of the hardest parts where we're expecting to have to get
Fight it out.
everybody
Yeah.
sneak through.
Avoiding spoilers ahead of this game was a nightmare for me personally. I want to consume it so I never have to be spoiled and have my experience taken away from me. Was there anything spoiled for you before release? Either of you?
Not for me. I was very, very careful on what I listened to. If it even had a thumbnail of Last of Us, I didn't watch it, listen to it, nothing. I know I saw some of the stuff on TV. I kind of guessed basically what was going to happen. I was disappointed in how quickly it happened, but yeah, I didn't have anything spoiled for me, which is good. Because I think if I would have heard all the nonsense people were bitching about before I played the game, I might have not played it right away. And then I played through it, and I don't understand what they're complaining about, really, to be honest with you.
High five. Thank you.
Let's see. I knew that like 12 hours of the game just couldn't be talked about, so that gave me a lot of clues as to what might have caused that, and it was pretty clear.
Well, yeah,
By a certain point,
out.
you're kind of like putting the pieces together. It's like, okay, you couldn't talk about like 12 hours of the game. I'm guessing I know why now. You know, at some point, you're kind of like, all right, I think I'm figuring out where this is going, but I don't think it ended up being a bad thing. We'll go into detail more later, but yeah, no major spoilers for me either.
You, Darrell.
At the time, I said, I know what I'm in for. The last game definitely left us all intrigued and in question whether or not there ever needed to be a sequel in the first place. I'm excited and nervous. I worked a full 8-hour day. I went to the record store, liquor store, took a shower, poured a couple shots, and got ready to settle into a gaming experience I've been waiting for a long, long time. Phil's been watching and experiencing most of the game with me via SharePlay. I really enjoy that. Phil's here with us today. He's a lifelong gamer and film enthusiast with a passion for deep RPG elements and challenging but fair gameplay. I wrote that about you. Thank you.
Could have been worse. He wrote worse things about me. So.
I know. I have. Yeah.
You can get personal. That's good.
No.
I already described my personality in possibly a questionable fashion.
Here's a question for you guys right off the bat. Do you think, after playing this, do you think this game should have been made?
Yes.
Did we need it? Not that it should have been made, but did we need it?
I think that would have been always the question of what if that was not done to take advantage of not only the better technology and whatnot that they were able to, but also just like, build on what they had already started, which, like we talked about, is as short as possibly an 8-hour game. So I think it was good that they had an opportunity to take more time and tell a more, complex story with more characters to get invested into. So,
And plus, it's huge money on both ends, I suppose.
yeah. Unless we have stock in it, I guess that part's not.
Yeah.
For us, won't really matter. But yeah, for them, I think it was extremely well selling, and
It was one of the fastest PlayStation games sold, right?
I think so, yeah. Was it?
What else has even
outside-
come out? Hardly. It's basically, it was almost isolated in its release, and like almost everyone I knew with the PS4 had it. So
Yeah, it was perfect time for them to come out with it because it was nobody had anything else to do.
no
And
movies to go see. There's no
No.
playoffs or sports. There's no sports at all, except maybe like NASCAR or underwater basket weaving. So I mean,
Yeah. Well, there's marble races too. I was talking about that
Those
the
are
other day.
entertaining.
Yeah,
esports is probably one of the only things going on if you want to watch.
yeah, they have that NBA 2K thing going on all the time.
Counter-Strike Go or League of Legends, something like that, or maybe even Call of Duty. Who knows?
So
What did you, Darrell? Start off just by kind of summarizing what you thought about this game. We'll go one by one here,
I
and then
thought
we'll dive into it.
it was necessary. I actually thought it was going to be far more violent based on the trailers that we saw. Like that very first trailer, I remember that November, right when I met Betsy. Everybody was like upset. Like, really? Did they have to be so brutal? And that's when Lev got her wings clipped, quote unquote, where they hit her with the hammer. And I was just
That wasn't
like,
Lev,
dude.
that was that lady.
Oh, that was
the lady.
Yara.
Yara, yep.
And I was just like, okay, so if that's their baseline, I'm afraid to play this game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm intrigued, but I'm just like, okay, it was super brutal. I'll give it to you, like in ways that I haven't really seen in a game, but at the same time, I was expecting worse, especially in the cutscenes.
I like the way you said that we needed. It's like the Dark Knight. It's not the game not the one that we deserve, but the one we need.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do we really need a super depressing game during this time? Maybe not, but it was good timing for selling a lot of copies.
I think for people that enjoyed the first story, we needed it because there's something to explore there. Definitely from the last one, it kept everybody in question, and yeah, they could have killed it and have it been an amazing one-off. But at the same time, like, I'm glad that we got to see this alternate universe where this happened. So
I was super excited ever since I heard about this game coming out, obviously, because I love the first one. And for me to have waited 7 years, and then with all the controversy around this game, and then me to play through it and be like, that was a good game. I was happy with that. Instead of getting done with it and being like, what the fuck? You know, or being very disappointed in it or something, or just being trash.
like the end of Halo 5 for me.
Yes, exactly.
I was just like, really? This is what we're doing? It's so lazy.
Yeah.
You're lazy.
Wasn't Halo 3, the one where they're like, we have to finish the fight. I thought that was...
No, you finish the fight probably next year.
So that was the end of the...
We'll see how
That
it
was the last
sells.
thing he said in like Halo 3, I thought. I was like, we got to finish this fight.
I think that's like his just like tagline for sure.
Again and again.
the
We have to
fight.
finish the fight again.
Now we have to do it one more time.
But
I was
think it great.
I was happy with the end product.
I think it was a good thing they made it, and I have some mixed feelings, which we can go into more detail as we go. But I'm definitely glad that they did this. It's hard to imagine a new IP just living up to this in terms of the gameplay quality or the emotional impact. So I think after this, they're welcome to go make a new game and do something totally different. But this was something they needed to take care of before the next generation. So 7 years was a while to wait, but I think it made sense for them to take that time.
Let's go Last of Us 3 and the new generation, and it'll be a prequel with just Tommy and Joel. That's what I'm talking about. I want to see how Joel what does and what they go through. Don't think it'll ever happen, but
It could.
It could have been a good DLC though, if nothing
Yeah.
else. I would have liked to see that.
I think what's his name said there was going to be no DLC for this though.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called
See
Loft
some of
Behind.
what got locked behind.
Yeah,
Wah, wah.
because Joel lives in a loft.
Oh.
And the name of the last DLC was Left Behind. Thank you. I'll be here all night.
Good reference.
Thank
I have
you.
knowledge of the product to get it. I just didn't have it.
It's all right. It's all right, Phil. It's my fault.
Once it was good. Segments of this game that remind me of that DLC. 3 or 4 segments that were pretty much just like that.
Yeah, the good parts, the real emotional parts with the characters you love, were reminding me of all of that, the older stuff, and then everything after that was kind of action game. That's the way I looked at it.
Excuse me.
All right.
All right, we want to dig in to my notes. God help us.
Jump right in. Yeah, no shit. I think my phone ran out of battery just scrolling through these notes.
It's bad, but we're gonna dive into this. All right, I think we're woke.
Expensive notes.
So I think in Jackson, where Ellie and Joel live, it's winter, so that's why I wrote winter at the beginning. But here's a couple notes. I liked how the opening was a heavy moment, setting the tone right away with Joel telling Tommy what it took to keep Ellie alive. It was like, damn, all right, that's how we're gonna start it off.
Yeah,
like,
I loved it.
Because it just got you right back into it. I'm like, okay.
Not nearly as emotional as the first game, though. The whole opening of the first game was intense as hell. This one was more of a catch-up, and it's like, yes, we're back here.
I was like, are they going to do a flashback? Like, last time. You know what I mean?
They brought you back. I think you wouldn't make this game without exploring the repercussions of Joel's decision at the end of the last game. So I think to bring that up immediately is a great idea. Just to get, not that people would have necessarily forgotten, but just to get everyone back to that mindset of, this decision Joel made, how he, did not tell Ellie what really happened.
He hadn't told anybody, I don't think, until Tommy heard about it. That's what I liked about it, is he was actually telling somebody else in the world what he had done.
It also just was kind of like, okay, they are going to make sure that this point gets brought up and is going to be a very, big part of this game. So
it's a huge plot device.
Started off. Yep.
Huge.
We saw it come up multiple times throughout the game.
Still good to see Joel and hear him again, though. Troy Baker nails it.
Oh, yeah, every time. It's kind of weird to look at him and then, hey, kiddo. Like, really?
I freaking love it.
Do you think he felt guilty and he didn't want to tell Ellie to make her upset, so he just decided to tell Tommy?
Well, Tommy's his confidant. They were always close, so it's his family. It's not just a stranger. So, and Tommy's pretty high up in Jackson, too, and stuff like that. So I think by this time, Joel kind of is high up in that whole hierarchy of survivors and stuff, too.
Going into this next part, the guitar part choked me up a little bit. Joe quote unquote wrote a song for Ellie, but it's actually a Pearl Jam song. I don't know
Pearl
the name
Jam.
of it.
Hell yeah! It was called. I had this in my notes. This is the first part that choked me up in the game. It got me I was very emotional about it.
Yeah, it really sinks in and doubles down that Ellie is all that Joel lives for.
It's all he has.
And the touchpad strumming, I was like, all right, this is cool.
It was pretty cool.
It reminded me of
people
actually
playing songs in the game.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
That was 2 years before the main timeline. Is that correct?
I think so.
Something
yes, I
along
believe so.
2 to 3 years back.
I believe that. I don't remember them putting a date per se.
The song was called "Future Days," by the way.
There you go.
By Pearl Jam.
I think he was still calling her kiddo.
How you doing, kiddo?
Despite the fact that she's probably killed tens of people, maybe even 100 at that point. So I don't know if that
just shows what you have to
later.
Just shows you have to do and what you have to do to survive in this world.
But he still likes to kind of see her, as she is younger than him by quite a bit, but they became more like partners when she was basically saving him, but he still kind of, sees her. He wants to kind of see her that way still as kiddo and someone he's protective of, because he always will be protective of her no matter how strong and how much older she got. So I kind of noticed that as well.
What do you guys think? I forgot to ask this right away. What do you guys think of Joel's decision in the first game to save Ellie and not let her get killed for the quote unquote vaccine? What do you because a lot of people saw him as a bad guy. I never did when I played that game.
It really makes That's the reason why the game is so renowned, is because of that ending.
It made you feel uncomfortable when you were playing it. That's like the first time where I'm like, there weren't that many choice games like where you could make choices in it up to that point. But that's the one where I was like, it really feels like I almost should have an input on this, and I don't.
Mm-hmm.
And it bothers me,
Yeah, they force your hand.
Especially when you can't just grab her and run, because doctors probably aren't gonna do anything. Like, now they have to at least one, and a lot of people probably killed all three, assuming you had to.
But I did.
Apparently, you can leave two of them alive, but most people probably figured you had to kill all of them to get out of there. So,
To never leave any witnesses, bro.
by the way, that made me feel was definitely the thing that I took away from the first game. And if I don't know how else they could have done it. If they made, you can't give a choice, because then you can't like make two different sequels depending on the choice, right? So,
I think he made the right choice, because it wasn't a guarantee that it was going to work, and it would have gave the vaccine, if it came up with one, to one faction in this world, and what keeps them from being corrupt and using it against people and all these other things. I think there was a lot went into it. Plus the fact, if it was like just think if you had a daughter or something and that was going to happen, or somebody you really cared about, the human nature would take over, like the thinking part of you when you're in that kind of situation. I don't know that he necessarily was a bad guy when it came down to it.
didn't they like take him? Like they took all his stuff. They like almost like they like beat him down. They didn't knock him out. Maybe even I don't know what they did.
Yeah, they knocked him out with the butt of a gun.
So
Yeah,
I mean, he obviously can't trust them anymore. He's not like, if they didn't even tell Ellie, they're somewhat incompetent. And how could you trust that they're actually going to make a successful vaccine, even if they did go through with it? And yeah, not giving her any say in it either is pretty bad.
Yeah.
So there was not much consideration by them other than just this one goal of maybe making a vaccine, which is a good goal, but they definitely did not go about it in a way that, not as good. They could have done a lot better, I guess.
I would be remiss if I didn't point this out. There's no vaccine for a fungal infection, though. So I'm just going to put that out there. So it kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense with the fungus and stuff like that, but it is what it is.
You gotta have a fake fungus around your heart or brain, and then it'll stop the other fungus. That pseudoscience right there. Made that up. It's probably true. Google it.
All right, I'll carry on with my notes here. I really like the writing so far. It's high quality. I laughed a lot, especially in the beginning. It really led me to like warm up to, especially back to Ellie, and then some of these new faces that I've never seen before. I really like Jessie, and I do like Dina. I think she's charming. She's very confident and outgoing. So
I like most of the characters in Jackson. I just love how Naughty Dog does motion capture too, and the acting that they get is they have no rival, in my opinion, when it comes to that kind of thing.
One thing I didn't have on the notes, but when I was first walking through Jackson at the beginning, when people were like running in the street and doing all that stuff, I was like, "Oh, this place is going to get taken over. Like we're going to come back from like wherever, and it's going to be on fire." And that's kind of what I was expecting. So that was like my major disappointment for the game, honestly. That was like, oh, okay. I don't know.
I'll tell you my major disappointment when we get to it.
All the characters seem to be competent and intelligent. Like they will quit back at Ellie. They're joking with her and giving her shit, giving it right back to her. So they were, some similarities there. But I just thought that they were, a little bit more relatable and not just generic good or bad. They were, a little bit.
You could tell she had lived there for a long time just because of the mutual respect they all had for each other and things like that. That was a nice little way to make it of how long it's been and what she's probably done for the community and things like that. Plus, the town of Jackson has gotten huge since the first game. First game, they had like big wooden gate, and that was it. It was basically like a barricade around this area. Now it was like an actual facility with lights and the whole works. It was like its own little town. I liked it. I wish I could have spent more time in it, but
same.
Well, they did a lot to build like what does it look like for them on a day-to-day basis to survive in this? You know, like you get kind of like some of the notes as you went on your patrolling, like what that looks like. They have these shifts. What do they have to do? They're slowly expanding the area that they check out, and you know, because there's the constant threat of you know, the fungal zombies coming through all the time. So
Yeah, or people.
It's nice to see that sort of to explain what that would actually look like after all that time had passed. So, I like a lot of those little details.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of you got from the notes. Like the notes are really good in the game. All the what you call them, artifacts, the notes you find, and all the little drawings and other things. I thought that was some of the best stuff. Like reading.
Yep,
some
I liked reading the lore, and I liked reading all the notes that you find and things like that. I like all that stuff. Reminds me of back in the day in Resident Evil when you'd find a note and that would tell you part of the story that they couldn't actually show you.
That's my next note.
This felt like a Resident Evil game to me. Like in a lot of the parts when you're running through the buildings and stuff, it felt like a new Resident Evil game.
In my notes, it says, after playing for a while and coming off a frustrating bout with Resident Evil 3, which I finally beat, thank you very much, it reminds me of so many games, and at times I remind myself that I'm not playing an alternate dimension version of a Resident Evil / Silent Hill game. I was just like, oh yeah, this isn't Resident Evil 2.
Especially with the big boss monsters.
In terms of the gameplay, I would say it's most comparable to Uncharted and Tomb Raider. I don't know if you guys have played the newer Tomb Raiders, but
yep,
it's very similar in terms of being able to choose violence or stealth, and then the crafting and upgrading is somewhat similar as well in terms of like upgrade your arrow, upgrade your gun. Some really good incentives to explore and find parts to upgrade. So you have multiple reasons to do that, including the lore. And obviously, depending on what part of the game you're at, you need supplies. If you just went through guns blazing, then you got to spend a lot of time finding supplies to keep going. So
I noticed on my second playthrough that there are weapons in that game that you could miss if you didn't explore every part. I think the shotgun was one of them. Like if you didn't know the safe code for the shotgun or something like that, or you couldn't figure it out, you weren't getting that. You wouldn't have that gun throughout that playthrough. It's very interesting.
The bank, right?
Yep. Yep.
It was very missable. I think that it's just a random note out in the middle of somewhere. So like it seems like you could miss that pretty easily, actually.
I liked the combat in this game. I liked the crafting in this game. It seemed like they just kind of cleaned up the UI that was already there from the first game. It just wasn't nearly as clunky. I thought the gameplay and all of that stuff and the graphics in this game were really a step up for these guys.
Do you have did you play on a regular PS4 or PS4 Pro?
Regular PS4.
What about you, Phil?
Yeah, regular for me.
Now, did it sound like a jet engine?
Mine didn't. This one, the PlayStation 4 Pro, or the PlayStation I was using, is a newer model of the regular PlayStation, so it was later in the SKUs or whatever. It wasn't one of the originals.
Okay.
But it didn't seem very loud. I mean, my Xbox has been louder playing Red Dead, so
that is true.
I was kind of surprised because I have played a few games on that PlayStation 4, and it sounds like it's going to melt.
That's probably mine.
It seemed to hold up really well. It wasn't worse during like cuts or anything like that I can remember. So, yeah.
I remember
after installing it was good. Yeah, once I installed it, that took a while to do this and everything. But once that was done, it was off and running, pre-install.
Thank you. This next part, we start playing as Abby, and you're like, who is this random chick I'm playing as? And what I really liked about that scene is you get split up with your group, I believe, and you end up running away from a bunch of clickers. But it was like one started chasing me, and I'm like, I don't have any weapons, and I started running, and then like three more, and I'm just like, oh shit, this was scripted. I'm like, okay, I like this. This is sweet.
Like 50 more.
Yeah, I know, and then 50 more, and you're like, oh god, oh god, oh god.
Yep. That's the first time I died in the game because I got lost. I couldn't figure out, it was in the snow and you're just in a panic running, and I end up running in a circle and I mobbed, and I'm like, okay, this is what's going to happen here, huh?
That sucks when you run down the wrong path and you're just like, accept the death with your wife. You put your arms up like, all right, like, just get me.
fuck, here we
start
go.
over. They did have 2 separate restart encounter and restart checkpoints, so you could, if you're doing a fight, you could restart the whole thing, or if you got many checkpoints halfway through, if you had like a really good stealth part of it, then you got found out, you could even do checkpoints in the middle, which is a nice touch.
I like the fact that the clickers were still alive in the snow, because normally in like zombie movies you think they would freeze or whatever and blah blah blah, but they were still active in this cold area, and that makes it more terrifying too, because it's dark and cold and but they were still. I think guys were.
There's no snowman zombie.
No, I was hoping for a snowman zombie just to pop out. I don't think those were clickers anyway. I think those were, what are those called? Like the rushers or something like that. Runners, yeah. Yep.
Get through this next portion here. The moment-to-moment combat is very tense, but albeit slow, very slow. I'm assuming especially on a higher difficulty. The violence is unbelievably lifelike and unrelenting. The first time I kicked in the head of a runner, I was like, damn.
Oh, yeah. There were many of those points for me. There was some violent kills. And I would, on my second playthrough, I really experimented in like shooting different, like, because normally when you've got a bunch of guys around you, you're trying to get headshots, but this way I was kind of sneaking around and stuff and trying to take them out by the legs and see how the characters would act, shoot them in the arm or whatever, and doing different things. And it was really interesting how many different ways, but they were all brutal. And there was some of them I felt bad about. I was just like, God, I don't know. That's a rough one there.
I mean, and she like stomps them. Some of them she was like stomp their head, and just the head would just explode.
Mm-hmm. Being able to rush
what I was talking about.
An enemy. Yeah.
I was just like, dang.
Yeah, I think they even start to react to like some of them. Sometimes I think just Ellie would just be like, she was like, did I really just do that? Did I really just massacre that person? But they're not fully dead. They're still like struggling for like 5 or 10 seconds afterwards.
Yeah, man.
They would just stop when they die. Like they don't die immediately. They like 5-10 to audio of them like suffering, so you can be reminded of your terrible actions.
I was telling Darrell I was sneaking through, like, there's the section where you're sneaking through like the container yard or whatever, and I knew this guy was coming around the corner, and I'm sitting there with my silenced pistol just crouched, and he came around the corner, and I was lined up for a headshot, but I missed, and I hit him in the throat instead. And he like looked at me all shocked, and it was like he was late when he was on the ground, he was still bleeding. Like it like all of that little detail makes it more of a visceral experience, in my opinion. And I was just like, oh shit! And then somebody heard you, and you had to frickin' take off running the other way and dive into the grass or whatever, and just avoid people. I loved it. Their attention to detail is unbelievable.
I wish I had tried. I didn't really catch that. I mean, mostly went for headshots, I guess. But I didn't realize they put that much effort into the other parts.
Oh yeah,
like body specific damage. So it's good.
Yeah, and people begging for, like, if you didn't kill them and you ran up on them, they're begging you not to kill them just before you do. It's kind of, there was a scene like that in the first one where you blasted that dude and you came running up on him. He's like, "Please, no," and you like fricked his head in or whatever. Kind of like that kind of stuff, but way more intense. I love the fact that you can run at an enemy and you can you dodge, like when they're trying to shoot at you or shoot an arrow at you, and just charge an enemy and out. I love that stuff. I like the combat a lot because
very strong. The dodge is the pretty much no matter what, you can just get out of it. So
yeah, get out of jail free card. That's what that is.
You can dodge, but not if it's like swarms of enemies, obviously. But there aren't that many parts of the game where you would necessarily have like 3 or more running at you, but when they were, those are the hardest parts, I think.
All right.
Darrell, fall asleep over there, buddy?
No, I'm good. So I kind of get a little bit more story heavy in my notes, and this goes on for quite a while, so buckle up. So Dina and Ellie go off into the woods.
Skip to the end.
What's that?
So we'll skip to the end, right?
We can if you want. We can do it backwards. Basically, Ellie signs up to do routes with Dina, and Joe's like, "Is this a good idea?" And Ellie's like, "I'm adult now. Leave me alone, Dad." They befall Eugene.
Don't tell me how to live.
Yeah, don't tell me how to live. They befall Eugene's old hideout, which was, I guess, a guy that died at the age of 70. And they're like, wow, that's so old. And I'm just like, yeah, probably in your world. You know?
Yeah, like that. They talked about how he was kind of lucky to live a full life.
Yep.
And like, that was a long time in their day. Yeah.
Without the advanced medicine, I mean, yeah, your margin for error is very slim at those upper ages. So, how old was Joel, you think, in this game?
I would expect he'd be in his 50s.
55.
55.
I think he was in his 50s because he was still kind of a hard ass.
He had some gray, but he wasn't like a silver fox or nothing.
Yeah, definitely not 60. Probably early 50s. He's been through a lot. He's seen a lot.
Oh, yeah.
He
might have been like maybe 25. You never know. Just the stress was all. That's why he's so gray.
A lot of stress. No touch of gray hair product there. So
just a little. He needs a Rogaine. Yeah.
just for me.
Ellie, we're going on a trip.
Yeah. To Target.
We're going to Rogaine, Wyoming. Home of Rogaine.
Can you help me brush this in my beard? Just the gray parts.
If it's not evenly coated, the chicks can tell for sure.
So Dina and Ellie are in Eugene's hangout, and they're like, hey, there's a trap door, and it's full of weed downstairs. They smoke a joint, they bang. And after a long dialogue, while, right after they banged or whatever happened, because they're in their underwear.
It was implied.
They get caught with their pants down literally by Dina's longtime ex. Dun, dun, dun. Adding the other groups, Abby, Owen, and Mel, really complicated things. They clearly want Joel's head, and I imagine they're fireflies, ? They must be.
I think they were a defunct, because fireflies were defunct by now, but I think they were all like part of that, and they were just offshoot, like splintered parts of the group.
You can tell.
Yeah, joined the WLF, of course.
You can tell that Joel kind of is less of a hard ass because he trusted Abby. He wanted to bring her to the city and like save the whole group. He definitely
is my number one problem with this game. This part really bothered me because in the first game, fucking that dude walked out in the middle of the street looking like he was hurt, and fucking Joel ran his ass down because he didn't trust anybody. He didn't trust anybody in this world that you didn't know.
I think he started to soften up.
Yeah, but I don't. Why though? The world hadn't gotten.
Well, here's what I mean. Other than obviously there's his interactions with Ellie and having that connection, kind of bringing him back down to reality with people and sort of like trusting people again. And then the fact that he hasn't had to go on all these runs, or he still had to go on like patrols, but he was in one city the whole time. And he wasn't like making deals with bad people for guns. He was like, part of a community. So he saw like how people could come together and be good to each other and be trustworthy. So I think that softened him up. And he's a little bit older.
But with strangers, I don't buy that he would just be that trusting. And he sure as hell wouldn't tell them their fucking names when they met the whole group. That's the part that really drove me nuts. It's like if you had any inkling that he had to know the fireflies were after him, even if he didn't know they didn't exist anymore or anything like that, he had to know people were looking for him. So I didn't
really
buy the part.
Though.
Yeah, I guess, but I wish this part would have happened later in the game. I wish it wouldn't have happened right away because I wanted Joel and Ellie.
Go ahead and take the floor next.
Yeah, I think the fact that we know how the game. I mean, I don't know. We talked about Abby a little bit, and I think the fact that you are thrown into her shoes and then she does this act so mercilessly against Joel. Without much context, it really kicks the game off it really makes it hard for the player to want to empathize at all with Abby or want anything to do with her at all. And I think
I see what they were trying to do though. I see that part. I wanted more time with original characters that I loved. That's what I wanted. I understand Joel had to die. I was expecting him to die. I didn't care. I expected it to be brutal. I expected it to be heart wrenching, but not fucking 2 hours into the game. That's not what I wanted.
Yeah, I guess the only They could have. I mean, it's just a matter of did they want to do some early stuff where you go on more patrol, Joel, or
anything like that.
If they
Yeah,
wanted to show like how much of that did they want to do early, and or could they have just? I don't know. I mean, there wasn't unless they wanted to do more flags early in the game. It just felt like they couldn't have it out much longer. It's just that the fact that they put Abby as such a heavy emphasis in the game, I think that doing it really early and knowing that it was Abby set themselves back in terms of trying to get people to invest in Abby as a character and want to. I was like, hey, Darrell, if I get killed as Abby when I'm with Joel, then I just quit playing. Then in my world, Abby dies and Joel Tommy live happily ever after.
So we should explain why Abby killed Joel too. That was her dad was the doctor that you killed at the end of the first game. That was trying to do he was the only doctor in the world that could do this specific surgery to help or to get a vaccine. I guess with Ellie.
Yep.
But when Joel died, it broke my heart.
Joel dies horribly, and Ellie wants revenge. Tommy tells Ellie to give him a day, and then Tommy leaves without her knowing. And then going through Joel's house was really rough, especially her smelling Joel's jacket, like really gave weight that Joel was really gone. And then we flash forward to Seattle.
Maybe the DLC could be Tommy, where he went.
That'd be cool.
Because it could have good combat, stuff.
I will add that they let Ellie and Tommy live, which I think is important because up until this point, there hasn't been much mercy shown by any character in any of the game, game or game. So they basically said that if they kill Tommy and Ellie, then no better than Joel. So they don't want to kill people unnecessarily. I think it's important because there is a lot of killing in this, and they made the choice to let Tommy and Ellie go, even though they somewhat knew I don't know if they knew their names, but kind of knew who they were and their motivations. So that was.
I don't know that Abby knew what was going. Or that Ellie was Ellie, though. I don't think she
knew that she was the immune. Girl, but she knew that she was pissed off, and she did threaten to kill them, and they did let her go and Tommy go. So that was
after they shot Tommy in the fucking leg.
After they shot him in the leg.
Yeah. But speaking of leg shots, that freaking shotgun shot to the blast to the leg of Joel was, man, like half his leg was missing. It was so rough. I understood that going to be brutal like that, but like I said, just not right away. I wanted more time. It felt like, but then maybe that was a good part of the game because it felt like Joel was ripping your life too. Like it would have felt to Ellie.
Yeah.
Like
it was sudden. It was early, so I think it had an impact. It's like, okay, well, we know. I mean, it was jarring. So, no, we're not going to have a good old Joel Ellie adventure here. It's going to be, either a lot of Ellie or maybe other characters, which we obviously found out it was. And they had other people they teamed up with and did, have develop relationships with and partnered up in the gameplay. So I almost felt like Joel was, not that he was embracing it, but he almost seemed like he knew this day was coming.
Oh yeah, he had to have known.
He didn't admit, he didn't apologize. He just said, just save your speech. Just do what you're going to do. I think in the back of his mind, he thought it always is a possibility.
Pun intended.
That would come back to haunt him in this group. So
I did like how he said, "Just get it over with," and Abby's like, "You don't get to get out easy or whatever or something. You don't get
bound his leg. They put his leg in bandages.
Just to save him, just to beat his ass."
Well, the whole group looked at Abby different after that too. Like, damn, really?
She was willing to torture. I mean, I think in the dialogue before she left, he was willing to torture these random people who were members of Jackson, who had maybe never even known Joel or known anything about him. She was willing to go find them, torture them to find out where Joel was. So, I mean, they're talking about a big escalation from probably what those people were used to. I mean, So even though the group they were with, WLF or whatever, were fighting in a battle, they were probably not. Maybe looked like they might have been torturing some people when you went back to see Abby in the stadium. Maybe there were people they were torturing, so maybe it wasn't that uncommon. But these were not bad people; they were just members of Jackson. So she was willing to basically take innocent people and who weren't their enemies and torture them.
There was a point in the game though where Ellie actually described how Tommy and Joe would torture people for information. So,
well, she did that herself.
Yeah, she did the same thing.
We'll get to that. So now Ellie and Dina are in Seattle. They're looking for Tommy. Nature's taken over the city. You need to go through a big gate with a lot of generators to get to a fairly impressive and beautiful open world section, so you can get gas to start another generator to open another gate. Classic.
Beautiful area though. I think they wanted to do more big areas like this in the game, and I think that's why it kept getting delayed, and they ended up just doing one massive part here and then some corridory stuff the rest of the way. But it was when you're first riding through those woods, gorgeous. Just beautiful. One of the most beautiful scenes I've seen. Exploring
with Dina and the horse scavenging was a lot of fun, actually. Big Silent Hill vibes when you're in the shops and stuff.
Yep.
That everything was just like left.
God, even just talking about this right now, I should call my cousin, tell him bring his PlayStation back over here. I want to play this again.
There's some really good classic, like seeing all these cool storefronts and the magazines and the notes left behind. Just sort of like people, sometimes they're like their bodies there, and then they have their last note, and you kind of hear this screwed up story about what happened. Like, please come back. I hope you come back with those supplies because we can't hold out much longer. And then they are with the note. Like, it's just really,
damn,
really good job of building the history and making you want to take your time and explore all those. And I like the way they use the map and like with the marker and everything. Like, so it's a realistic like. I think they did a really good job with that part, and you didn't have to do every spot, but if you did, you got rewarded with the shotgun and a holster. So there was some really lasting things. It wasn't just random supplies and upgrade parts.
Did you guys find? Oh, go ahead.
I got the holster. I was so happy because I was so sick and tired of switching back pistols the old way. It's like, God, I don't want to hold. I have to hold what when I'm doing what. And then
it's like one of those. It's like one of those Zelda side quests. You eventually end up at the pet store, but first you have to go here, and then you go to the pet store, but then you have to get the safe key, or figure out the safe, and then you finally get the lasting long-term reward. So it felt good to get through all that and have a nice reward at the end. So
you guys found the key to the dog store, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was definitely the most elaborate, like, in terms of like, I don't know if it's puzzle solving, but just in terms of following that thing through to the end, through all the map parts.
There's a lot of those things where there are hints in the notes that you find, and if you didn't find certain notes, you might not even realize certain things that are going on. I love it.
Yeah, all of it was to. Was the end goal just to get the generator? Yeah, it was just to get the gas. They went to the one, it had no gas, and then they do some other stuff, and then you finally get to the last one, and it has gas.
Yep.
Yep.
I explored every inch of that opening area I could. I went everywhere, to every corner, to every invisible barrier in that map. I went to it. I tried to find every single thing I could possibly. I tried to go through the whole game and find everything, but I think I was like 2 items short of getting platinum.
One of my favorite parts in the game is when Ellie sings "Take on Me" by Ahad for Dina.
Great. In the record store, that was fantastic.
Yep.
Absolutely fantastic. Did you notice the program posters hanging up there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I missed that. Guitar was there, and then I saw on the map she hadn't crossed it off yet, so I went back and found it. So that was nice.
One of the great moments in this game. One of the moments I loved. Great.
It was just like it was a break. It was a nice break.
Yes, it was a breath of air. Yes, exactly.
And then for the second generator, is that where she went through that pretty big building with like multiple? Well, maybe it wasn't that big. It was like a library or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, the temple or the.
Oh yeah, sorry, it was religious.
What do you
call
synagogue?
Synagogue.
What do you call it? Synagogue. Yeah.
And Dina was talking about that, and she learned a lot more about her and her background there too.
It was interesting.
Yep. It was beautiful. It was good too. I like when you jump down in there and you look back and you saw like where the Reverend would be and all that kind of stuff. It was like, man, this is pretty sweet in here. Like,
Well, guess what? All that piece is for nothing because they get captured.
You got R.I.P. that horse for God's sake.
Yeah, that horse gets shot.
why would? Here's my other question too. If you're out in the middle of wilderness and stuff, and horses, it seems to be the main transportation. Why the fuck would you kill a horse when it's already laying down on the ground?
It was blown up, right? I mean, once the horse gets hurt a little bit, they put the horses down for just having a limp. You know, it seems like that was really. I felt bad for the horse.
Yeah, I felt that was a rough one too.
It was a good horse horror. I don't know.
So they got Dina escaped. Ellie got captured.
Isaac seems to be the leader and ordered them dead. It looked like they were like it was going bad, but Ellie escapes by cutting her restraints with a piece of glass. And Dina was with her and got captured too. Saved Dina as she was being attacked, like right before this dude was probably gonna like kill her, like a boss.
He was choking.
Yeah, he was choking her. That's right.
But that was after Dina shot a guy, and this was the guy with the scar on his face, I think, who was
Scarface.
The Joel killing, correct?
It was one of the originals, yes.
So he wanted to kill Ellie, but he actually told them to hold off to like get more information. He's like, no, don't kill her. We need to get information. So like he almost saved her a little bit, and then just
Dina
for
blows
his
that
own
dude's
selfish
face off
reasons, but
and falls through the window.
Killed.
Yeah.
It looks pretty bad there.
I said in the notes.
Ellie runs up there and slashes that dude's throat.
That's what I mean. Jesus,
brutal.
That group's pretty ruthless. It's shown to be pretty ruthless, though. We find out later, they're willing to torture people, like we talked about, and if they're not doing that, then they just kill them straight up because they just don't want to deal with it. Prisoners, I guess.
Well, I think we get chased into a subway of sorts because they escape through the vent. I want to say. Maybe not.
They get to the bottom of a building, and then that leads into like the red lit subway.
Yep, and now the clickers and humans are intertwined. Time to throw bricks.
That was a good mechanic. I love throwing, making noise, and watching shit go down while I'm hiding behind a box somewhere.
I love the red light section of the subway. Best looking part of the game so far, in my opinion. It was dirty, gritty, and visual. Wow, great. Visceral is what I was going for. But you used
it. Reminded me
of 28 weeks later.
Yep.
And they're all stuck together in a building, and the red everywhere, and the zombies and people, and it's chaos, and you can just run through the subway and get by. Unfortunately, if they forced you to take out everybody, it would have been even more tense and like oh god, these guys don't kill each other very well. I don't know if I played on hard, so I don't know if it was any different. But the enemies that were my enemy, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. They did not kill each other very well. I'll just say that. They stalled. They took their sweet time. They were looking they were looking for me out of the corner of their zombie eyes. All right, I could tell.
I did play through this whole part. I did kill in every section of this game. I killed everybody before I moved on. I think there was one part I ran away because it was towards the end. It was with Abby, I think, that I had to run away because they all had guns or machine guns and shit. But I literally took my time and killed every clicker, every person, anything, whatever, and cleared the area and then moved on.
Nice. Yeah, that part was
the 34-hour gameplay.
Damn.
After they got out, then they headed to the hospital?
A theater, but I have one more note here. The new clickers, I forgot the name.
Shamblers?
The Shamblers, yeah. They're definitely tough, but nothing I can't handle. I'm playing on a moderate difficulty, and it seemed to be full of my supplies. My cousin Phil was watching me through SharePlay, and he was getting slightly annoyed that I wasn't shooting more. Phil?
Yeah, I saw he was going past ammo, and it was full, and I'm like, what? You gotta live it up here and entertain me a little bit, Let's. I don't care if it draws every zombie.
I want the sub
thing, Just take it out. Yeah, just take take them out and then throw some smoke bombs and run if you have to. But it's about the audience.
I don't think I ever used a smoke bomb in the game.
I used it once.
You can if you do it, then you can grab somebody and get the free kill on them, which is if you were truly running out of ammo or just were swarmed, then it was pretty good. But yeah, I didn't really use the grenades much at all, the smoke bomb or the trap bombs too much.
No.
But
I used the trap bombs on the bigger bosses just because they were chasing me the whole time. I just lay them down on the ground. Half the time I died from them, though, because by the time I laid it down, that thing was on top of me and would trigger it and blow me up.
Yeah, your body would blow up. It was graphic. Like, you'd be like,
Yep.
oh my god! Your parts went everywhere. It was bad.
So Dina and Ellie find respite in the theater. Ellie finds another call. Gatia. I don't know what the hell I was reading there.
Gutierrez.
It's a cool cathartic feature where I actually found myself just kind of strumming chords for a little bit because it's and Dina is throwing up. Is she bit? Is she sick? Question mark. This may have been earlier, but the flashback to Joel pushing Ellie in the water when she's learning to swim, I literally laughed out loud, and I was delighted in that moment. That was another nice break for me, rocking back and forth. Happy thoughts, Darrell. Happy thoughts.
That's the thing about this game, man. They'll do a flashback that's sweet and genuine at heart, and then brings you right back into chaos or into horror. And I think that's what another thing they nailed about this game. It gives you that good feelings, and then you're right back into the shit again.
And the flashbacks, you knew. I mean, they kind of set the precedent that the flashbacks were peaceful flashbacks. Other than when Tommy's showing Ellie how to shoot a sniper. And that you weren't in danger. It was like you knew that this was going to be a moment where you could relax a little bit and then just sort of see how the relationship, evolved and
pans out.
Some of the old banter, that kind of stuff.
Yep, the cutscenes were this game's safe rooms. These are where you could just take a second, relax for a little while, and look around. I would look at all this scenery and. That's when I started to pay attention to how people moved and how they, their face moved when they were talking and things like that. It's pretty crazy.
Oh, and when Joel, sorry, I was listening to you guys. I don't want to cut you guys off. I'm just kind of listening to you.
No,
and then, you know what I mean?
It's funny watching.
I'm not running you over or nothing. When Joel took her to the museum for her birthday, the space helmet and the blast off tape was nice. Reprieve and a gift to be able to imagine escaping such a horrible world that they live in. And apparently, Joel can wear a space helmet too for an achievement if you care about that thing. Joel also openly talking about Sarah and her love of museums, sad but showing that he has started to let go of the past somewhat.
So was this after they had gone, after the events of the first game? Was that clear? I think it was, right? Or was it supposed to be the museum part of the birthday? Was that after?
It must have been.
Last game?
It must have been.
Yeah, it was after he saved her and stuff. Because she was not old like she is now, but she was older. It seemed like it was one of her, her next, maybe the next year or something like that. But it was a great moment between Joel and Ellie. It was heartfelt when she closed her eyes and was imagining blasting off and stuff like that. That was all good. That's where they, like I said, that's where Naughty Dog excels.
You can see how much Joel got happiness and satisfaction from just being able to make Ellie be able to escape for a moment or for even for just a half hour, and just have some fun. And because I think to him that was that's other than Tommy, that's his family, and so that's one of the best things he could possibly do. And so sort of not to necessarily needs to redeem himself, but just in terms of one of the better things that he could do. And is to make Ellie happy and sort of, try to keep a good relationship with her after everything they went through and whatnot. So
yeah, I think he overdid it too, just because he knew what she didn't know about what he had done and things like that. So he was really overly fatherly to her. But I think he also, this is when he kind of started letting Sarah go, and Ellie became his daughter, and he protective and sweet to her. There's a side of Joel that you don't see with anybody else.
Yep, it's definitely not the Joel that we met. In that time, would probably only have been a year or two before, the museum scene. Joel would have been pretty much basically a marauder in a sense, and extremely ruthless. So quite
a guy that didn't want anything to do with Ellie when they first met. He was like, I don't want to have to deal with this.
Yeah, she just pretty much just wanted to survive, Didn't really care about relationships other than trading and whatnot, like stuff like that for whatever deals he was making. But yeah, so it was a good part, one of the highlights of the game, I think.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
We're just about to
theater. Yeah.
We're just about to dip our toe into Seattle Day 2, and I think now would be a great time for a potty break.
Potty break.
Thanks for sticking with us, Cyberbots. Welcome back, Cyberbots. We're at Seattle Day 2 in The Last of Us Part 2. Hey, guess what, everybody? Dina's pregnant. Bam, 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 bam. And it's Ellie's baby, not...
I thought it was going to be something crazy.
Get Jerry Springer in here.
She's born. She's born with like a clicker spawn.
I thought it was either that or you're gonna find out later that like, because all the shit I was hearing about this game and like how it was all controversial and stuff. I thought it was like Abby was actually a dude, and they had known each other or something like that. I thought it was gonna be something crazy.
Never know. That's a big reveal.
But it wasn't.
So because Dina's pregnant, Ellie goes out and search for Tommy alone. Lots of exploring and looting to be had. Oh, and did I mention slaughtering over 50 people in the process?
Sir.
She runs into Jesse, Dina's ex-boyfriend, who came looking for Dina and Ellie. They had an epic car chase, Indiana Jones style, and end up driving off a cliff into water. I didn't care for the water section because both you know how I feel about that. So he brought Jesse back to Dina and Ellie. Sorry, I don't know why I said that. Brought Jesse back to Dina, and Ellie definitely suspected who the father is and seems rather jealous at that point.
She was jelly. She's out here, and then she knows she can't really, rely on Dina anymore to help her, and that Jesse's going to want to bring her back. So she's probably facing the fact that she might have to be on her own from here, and that this could somehow bring Jesse and Dina back together. So she's probably feeling, jealous and just insecure at that point.
Well, it's because the one person that she started to really like again after Joel's gone. Now it seems like they're leaving too, and it kind of brings Ellie back to the I'm alone kind of thing, and like I'm by myself kind of deal.
Yeah, without Joel, that was even though they had their issues, that was still the one person she could count on and share anything with.
Yep.
Without that, she was looking for someone else.
I did. Person, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, that person's not necessarily going to be there for her. At least
the same way.
In the combat way.
No.
Maybe an emotionally supportive, but not the usual partner who can help kill a bunch of people.
I wrote my notes here. She probably feels very alone at this point in the story, saying things like Jesus or my God, kill after kill. After kill, the brutality knows no bounds. Enemies don't just die, they suffer. Super dark stuff. Another flashback. Shooting clickers at long range with Tommy. Phil, you just mentioned that. And he tells Ellie she should talk to Joel more, ? Ellie confronts Joel about her immunity, and they fight a bloater, and Joel has a well-rehearsed story, pretty much. That's what I wrote.
That was a really good fight. I thought the bloater not having all the upgrades and everything as part of the flashback was a good way to make an enemy that you faced before extremely daunting again. Like you couldn't just take it out with like one Molotov and a few shots. Like you had to run around a lot, smashing through walls. So it really gave that sense of that you were not in control at all. And I think that's some of the best stuff in the game is when you're backs to the wall. So I like that quite a bit.
I was sitting in the dark with my headphones on, and that bloater would roar and shit before it would charge you. I was in full panic mode in that fight, and I think I probably died. I don't even know how many times, but I died quite a few times just because I'd run around the corner. It was standing right there and would just grab you, and it's like a one-shot kill.
I think it's agile. It's more agile, higher definition, and more agile than new bloaters. And this one, I mean, the bloaters weren't just like one-out. Like they had higher hit points. They were almost like mini bosses, more mini boss-like than the other game. You'd sometimes run into two of them, but when they were in this game, they were a significant threat. And yeah, you couldn't take on two. It was usually
if they grabbed you, you were dead. There was no like shanking your way out of it, or like the other clickers. If they grab you, you could still fight them off. This was nope, you're dead.
It ripped your face open. Specifically like that.
Yeah, brutal.
Disgusting.
So, Ellie goes back to Dina with intel that one of the people she wants to kill is at the hospital. I think Nina that she's looking for, and Ellie goes it alone once again. New type of enemy, the stalker. Those are the ones that like kind of crawl around and peer around corners.
Way easier than I thought they were going to be.
I just want to add that I forgot to mention that the arcade was the location for the bloater fight. So they had some really cool, like, random made-up arcade consoles. That was also a nice touch as well. And then you end up in that garage of some sort with the stalker for the first time. And Darrell was trying to melee him like he does with all the other enemies to save ammo, and he got his ass kicked.
Yep. Big time.
I was like, they used the ammo!
I used the silenced pistol on those guys. I saved it specifically for those dudes. As soon as they poked their head out of where they were hiding behind, I freaking capped them. That's the way I got through that section.
Yeah, once there was like 7 of them in an area, as soon as you made noise, then they would kind of come at you one at a time. So they were still manageable. I ended up using the shotgun a lot with those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if they did charge me, it was shotgun all day long.
Because it was it was a surefire thing. Pun intended.
Right. If you're really good at stealth and really patient, you could probably have stealthed them. But at that point, it was better off just using the ammo because you had already taken out a big boss. So it seemed like safe to use some of that other stuff,
Yep.
Yeah, I like that. That they did not show up. You couldn't hear them, and they were sort of stalking you. So it's good to have that variety in enemy type.
There was an enemy type like that in Dead Space, one of the Dead Space games that would like peer out at you and then charge you. But these guys just stayed there unless you walked by them, and then they grabbed your ass, and that was it.
And don't get me started on the ones that came out of the freaking wall later. Good God. Scared the crap out of me.
Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Lots of looting and random killing. When the wolves descend upon me from time to time. Went to the hospital, killed a lot of wolves to get to Nina, part of Abby's group. Had to chase her down. She ran to Spore territory. Ellie killed her with a pipe, even though she was going to be dead anyways. Just, double tap.
Yeah, this was the first time Ellie didn't put a mask on, and the lady was like, "You don't have a mask on, and you're fine," or whatever. And they I think that's the point she realized that it was Ellie. That they were like, "Oh shit."
It was a multiple phase thing too. You first talk to her, she's like, "I'm not going to give up Abby," and then she tries to run away. So you end up having to run through a bunch of places, and then end up in falling through the floor. I think you have to take her hostage because they surround you. Then you end up falling down through the floor into an area with spores.
Yep.
And that's the second time you have to fight enemies that are multiple. You have to fight the infected and the regular enemies at the same time. And they'll go against each other. And then you end up, catching her, and she's pretty much going to die. And she's like, "I'll either make it fast or I can make it so slow." So she threatens to torture her and does start to beat her up. And then it's implied that she gives up the information about Abby, and that's the only reason she knows where Abby is. So it's
good scene though.
This game is so long. We're still not even to Abby yet. And Phil, I know you were a little disappointed that they didn't have a multiplayer section.
Yeah, I'm pissed about that too.
I love the multiplayer. I played it over 100 hours when the original game came out.
What if they cut the 12 hours of Abby and just had it be the ending like it was, would you still care for Abby the same way at the end? Would you have been like, God, they cut her hair, she's emaciated, you know, would you have wanted that kill? It felt wrong to me. I think I mentioned that, but...
Jumping way...
Yeah.
I know, sorry. I'm sorry. All right. I'm going to stay on track. I'm going to stay on track.
The event so I can formulate my opinion.
All right. Abby's in the aquarium. The aquarium is magical if you hear my cat.
We have to relive Abby in excruciating detail. Wait, Abby wasn't actually in the aquarium. Or was she? Yeah, at some point. Everyone goes to the aquarium at least one time in the game.
Hey, guess what? Another flashback. Ellie demands Joel tell her what happened. She threatens to leave if he does not. Joel said, making a vaccine would have killed you, so I stopped them. And at that time, she swears Joel out of her life.
A very emotional scene. That was a heartbreaker because you knew he had to tell her the truth, but you knew what consequence it was going to be if he did. And it was sad.
Yeah, she went back to the hospital and found a tape recording of some sort, which basically goes against what Joel was saying in terms of there being other immune people and that they had done tests before because they were really excited for the possibility of her coming and making a vaccine. So it basically poked a hole in the story, and she knew, and basically gave him an ultimatum: either tell me the truth or I'm just going to be out of your life forever. If you tell me the truth, then I can at least hear it and give you a chance. And so he did.
And you could tell it how much it hurt Joel because he knew that was it's like shit. Now I got to tell her the truth. He knew it was not going to be the same after that.
Yep, he took the choice away from her, which is part of it too. It was he didn't tell them, okay, you got to at least wait till she gets up so she can consent to this or not. He just took her out of there. He killed people. They had no chance of going back. So her choice was taken away, and so she did not react well, obviously.
Mm-mm.
Now we are on to Seattle Day 3. But in that last sentiment, she wanted to give Joel a chance. She says, I can't forgive you, but I'm willing to try.
Yeah.
So,
she was at least going to give him a chance.
Fuck you, but I still love you type sentiment. On to Seattle Day 3, out to find Abby at the aquarium. Ellie is out to find Abby at the aquarium, acquired a boat, another 40 kills to discover Owen and his pregnant wife. Of course, they don't want to give up Abby's location, so Ellie kills both of them. Tommy and Jesse shows up when Ellie is having a panic attack after what she has done, pretty much, because she realized she killed Mel. I was like, damn, okay.
Mel shouldn't have been there in the first place. She's pregnant. Go back. She shouldn't have been out in the combat area. It's crazy for her to be there.
Yeah, this was the first time they ran into this Seraphites, right?
Yep.
She's in the boat, and she goes up to like a sniper. There's a sniper at a post inside of like a bus that's somehow up on a hill or something, and then reads a note about how the Seraphites are pretty shifty and will hide on or be sniping themselves, and then that was pretty tough part. There's a lot of them there, and
that's why I said like 40 because it was like.
But it wasn't just WLF; it was a mixture of both. So you could start to see that they were both occupying the same space,
right,
and having issues with each other, and starting to see some of the Seraphite, culture and things that they had going on, like a shrine there to the person that they were worshiping. So you're just starting to just get a little bit of a glimpse of that from Ellie's perspective, and then shit goes down at the aquarium. The main location in the game, the aquarium.
So then Ellie kills them at the aquarium, leaves them behind. Then she goes back to the theater, and then she is conversing with Jesse and Tommy, hashing out their next step. Then Tommy exits the room. Jesse and Ellie hear commotion in the other room. They burst in the room. Jesse is killed by a shot as he's burst into the room, and Abby has Tommy at gunpoint. Right in the face.
Just like over. Oh, there goes Jesse.
And
Someone
another
had to go
fucking
down.
flashback at the peak of the last scene. Why not?
I hated this part when she's like, "You killed my friends," and then she's like, "We let you live and you wasted it," and then she's like, getting like shaky with the gun, and fucking cutscene. Right when the game was getting to that like, oh shit moment, it just stopped.
It's like a Lord of the Rings false ending. You know, that could have been in a shorter version of this game. That could have played out and been almost the end. You know,
It should have been, in a way, in my opinion. So it
people
cut
might
to
not felt they got
black.
their money's worth if it was only 8 hours or 10 hours. But
It cut to black, and now I'm playing as Abby and learn her motivation on why she wanted Joel dead. Joel killed her dad. He was a surgeon, was going to operate on Ellie. Abby spared Ellie to be better. Her mistake, question mark, we shall see. Well, it was her mistake because she killed Mel and Owen.
But she also ended up getting Abby out of the situation she was at the end too. She
That
went
is
to let her
true.
live.
Big flashback with Abby. You get to see the Wolves settlement in the stadium and kill a ton of scars along the way. You were still playing as Abby, and you go on a quest to find Owen. At this point, I wasn't even upgrading any of my stuff because I thought this flashback wouldn't last that long, but we all know how that went.
You were so wrong.
I was so wrong.
Right when Abby first woke up, when she like got shocked awake, just to see how big she was, I was like, oh, this is what everybody was mad about. Like, she's going to be like I said, she's going to be transgender or something like that because her arms are so goddamn big. And then when you but then you find out that's not true. But the stadium part, when you walked out in the stadium, that was pretty sick. That was a good scene.
I just want to add that in the flashback with Abby, she specifically discusses the morality with her dad of whether they should do this to Ellie without telling her. And Abby says that she would be willing to sacrifice herself and, confronted her dad, basically said, the other person confronted and said, what if it was your daughter? And whether or not he would be willing to sacrifice her. So, I mean, Abby's basically saying that she's on the side of feeling that it was okay to go through with it. So she did not feel her dad was in the wrong in doing that because of the greater good potential. So I just wanted to add that because that's sort of another big part of her motivation is that she felt like she would have taken one for the team, and then she's in the stadium. They go meet with Isaac, and you can see that they are torturing people, or at least holding them as prisoner, but it looks like torturing them for information. So,
and Isaac tells Abby about Owen. After a scouting mission, he went missing, and the dead body of his partner returning back to the settlement didn't sit well with the other survivors. So they all want Owen's head. And in Danny's dying breath, he told Isaac that Owen killed him. So
I don't remember that part.
Well, I get clarification on it later when she meets up with Owen, but I can't remember what Owen's explanation was.
I think they came upon like a scar, and it was like a woman and somebody else that was vulnerable.
Oh, that's right.
And like
that's right.
He was like, "Hey, we should just let him go," and the other guy didn't want to do it, so he had to kill him.
Yep, that's right. That's when he was having his meltdown on the boat. That's why he was drinking and shit. That's right. I remember now.
When Owen drinks, bad things happen.
Yeah.
You gotta go back to that aquarium because Owen's gonna be at the aquarium.
I was just gonna say Abby has to know the truth and try to make things right, and I was told to find him at the aquarium. Flashback again. Owen has the aquarium decked out with lights for Christmas, and you play a fun bow and arrow mini game. Abby finally gets to the aquarium. Owen says he's going to Santa Barbara to join the Fireflies. She gets mad.
Did you guys get all the targets or no? When you were trying with that little bow and arrow game?
No, I gave up.
I couldn't find the one. I got all of them except for the one. I couldn't figure it out.
There was tension between them, and he takes her to that romantic, aquarium thing, and then they kiss, but then she's not feeling it. So there's some history there. Either they were in a relationship or trying to start something.
Throughout all this, I cut out that part where they were on the Ferris wheel and he jumped off or whatever, and she followed him. So
yeah, it was just another time where you're going into the aquarium. One of the many going into the aquarium section. All
right, so let's see. She gets mad and tells him to grow up. and then he tells her to grow up, and then they bang, and it's really gross. We're back on Seattle Day 2. Abby returns to the trailer where she left the two scabs.
Was that earned? Was that scene earned? Does that make it? I mean, were they just
didn't have to be that? It didn't have to be to that frickin' point, in my opinion. But it was very awkward. I was very uncomfortable during that whole part.
Right. Just see, it was super random, and he's basically like making light of her family that was killed and being her only motivation, and somehow that turns into sexual attraction. I don't know.
Yeah, saddle up, partner.
It's one of those anger sex things. I don't know how it goes, but
yeah.
Realistic.
So then Abby has her first true run-in with the Seraphites, and she witnesses, or she gets strung up by her neck, captured, strung up, and right as she's pretty much being like killed. Which, by the way, when this happens on her way to find Owen, which I kind of skipped that. Sorry, I'm jumping around, but Owen never even asked why there's a bruise around her neck from her hanging. Lev and Yara are Seraphites that have gone rogue, and they decide to save Abby's life. So Abby helped them out and left them in like a trailer. Yara, as I'm just going to read here, Abby returns to the trailer where she left the two scabs that saved her life. This is one of the most brutal sequences in the game so far, in my opinion. We finally get to see how Abby and the new characters tie into the originally shown trailers. One of the scabs, Abby was saved by suffering from a shattered bone in her left arm from a hammer. Yikes, that was ridiculous. Mel randomly shows up, looks at the arm of the scab, and needs to be amputated. They move to the aquarium again. I'm not kidding.
Of course.
The scab companion said she can get supplies from the hospital in 2 hours. Abby believes her, and they head out to get supplies for the girl who saved Abby's life. Abby and Lev climb to great heights using the Seraphite's path. Lots of battles and sketchy situations. Getting a mask. Yeah, the sky bridge.
I like how they established that Abby was afraid of heights in this game, and when you get up really high, if you look down with your camera, it would make the screen kind of blurry. It would almost make you feel like you're looking down on these crazy heights and stuff. I really like how they did that. But it was like a thing that she was afraid of heights throughout the game.
After they're leaving, right away after they escape being killed, there's the forest section, which is totally different from the rest of the game.
Yep.
Where you basically have to like learn the melee combat system and run through almost pitch darkness. You have to follow them with their torches. I thought that part was really intense. You basically had to keep up with them, or you just get left behind and swarmed by zombies, and then have a elaborate mini boss battle with the Seraphite with the large hammer, and you have to dodge.
Oh, that's right. I skipped over that.
All the shots, and I thought that was a good fight. Just hand to hand, and end up killing them, which they happen to have your backpack, so you get your stuff back. And I thought that part was really good. It was just totally different from the rest of the game.
Yeah, it slowed everything down. The pace slowed way down to that kind of need to be stealthy kind of thing. That took me a while because I would just creep around. I was like extra careful in that part.
But I think going up to that sky bridge was a highlight. It was really cool.
Yeah, I liked it.
The graphics were definitely needed there, and then going back down was probably the best, horror part of the game in terms of having all the multiple floors you could see, and if you alert them, they could kind of come from all over the place. So that was also very different than the rest of the game. So what happened when they went up to the top? There
was spores, and Abby had to get a mask for Lev.
Oh yeah, they were just trying to get to the hospital, right? For supplies. That was the whole point. Yep. And so she had to go find a mask and go, because none of them are immune, like Ellie. So. And
then they befall the hospital, which is what Wolfenstallman, and Abby is detained because Isaac declared her AWOL and ordered her to return to him. Abby is set free by Nora, who tells Abby the lower levels are rough, but there are supplies down there. Abby thanks her and goes on her merry way to hell. This next part has strong Resident Evil vibes, big time. Gotta find a generator, open the door, blah, 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 and voila, a bunch of loot. Wonder what's gonna happen. Tea party? No, wrong. It's a mother effing good old-fashioned boss fight.
This is when Darrell started to get aggravated with this game, I think. You can tell by your notes, like, whatever, blah, 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 shoot, kill, punch somebody in the face, get a key.
Bold and large text.
Yeah, I know. Boss fight. You kick the fat ones. Oh, go ahead.
This generator brings like PTSD from the last game, because in the other game you pull a generator, then you got to fight like 1 or 2 bloaters or something like that, and like 3 other. So whenever you pull a generator in the other game, bad things happen. So you get swarmed, and it's usually a forced combat thing. So this one, you get the generator, you go through, and there's all these doors that are locked with the generator, and you're like, oh shit. So once I open this generator, all these things could just come out, and so it kind of built the sense of like, okay, I'm kind of safe in the main area, but there's all these doors that are going to open, and then sure enough, once you open the generator, shit goes to hell.
Yep. This was definitely the part where I was like, this is like a new Resident Evil. This was one of the moments, like Darrell said.
You kick the fat one's ass with explosive. This thing is like a 4 clickers combined into a large, fat, cancerous, fast, deadly blob of death. Not great stuff, people. Hey, if you've ever played Inside, have either of you played that?
Oh, yeah.
That's what that reminded me of. I'm not going to say, but...
I gotcha.
I know what you mean.
Yep. Thank you. I'd like to end that fight. Go ahead.
Apparently, it's called the Rat King, and the notes leading up to it just talk about how a ton of people were put into one small room and just locked in there, and the idea is that after like 20 years of just being in the same room with bodies so close and can't move, that it just formed this amalgam of disgusting bodies that could like function together and then even split off and still be conscious. So you can imagine that there's multiple like consciences in this thing, and it's crazy.
Reminds me of the actual creature in The Thing, the movie, when all the faces were like poking out of it and shit.
I like what Abby was saying to herself. I'm not going to die down here. While you're playing. That's pretty badass. Mm-hmm. And the third head broke free, and the fat one ran off. He chased a mini phase into 2 boss fights. And guess what? You miraculously find Lev, steal a wolf boat, listen to a soothing massage parlor tunes, and successfully return to save Lev's sis. All is well, all except this is a flashback, so Owen and Mel are already dead, as we hopefully finally head back to the fucking cliffhanger, compose thyself, and prepare for Seattle Day 3. Hey, guess what?
Now,
go ahead.
At this point, did you guys have the explosive bow and arrow yet?
Yes.
Dude, the first time I shot somebody with that, I forgot that I had it equipped, and it was like up close because it was like a shock kind of shot. The guy was running at me or something, and I was just like, "Oh shit!" because it just evaporated the guy. It was crazy.
You realize that the dog that you kind of got to know as Abby was the one that Ellie killed.
Yeah.
The nice dog, and then you discover the dog is dead, and you're just like, I mean, it's coming, but then she finds Owen and Mel and gets appropriately upset and angry at Ellie.
I used to
finds her map. She finds Ellie's map.
One thing we missed is the PlayStation Vita part of the game.
Oh,
why couldn't you pick that up as? I want to know why.
I think I have that in here actually at some point. That isn't until a little later when you play as Ellie again.
No, because that's just before she chases that chick into the spore stuff.
Oh, right? That's right. You're right.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
Another brutal death scene.
She's playing Hotline Miami.
Yeah, she is.
I love it. Well, guess what? Seattle Day 3. Abby woke up in the aquarium and got into it with Mel. Mel tells her she's a horrible person. She's pretty harsh, blah, blah, blah. Made Abby kick a chair, gotta go look for love with Yara, and he's pretty worked up. God damn it, let's fucking get the story going. What the fuck?
Darrell.
Then Yara and Abby go to the shark exhibit section and play fetch with the dog. Lev is transgender, ? Why did they call him Lily? Is he gay? I'm confused. Lev is a girl who has become a wife to one of the elders, but was secretly transgender and cut his hair in protest. Cutting your hair is forbidden as a seraphite. So Lev ran off in a boat. Owen says that Abby and him are allowed to be happy and can quote unquote work it out. I'm like, fuck you, Owen. That's gross.
I don't.
He wanted to be a polygamist, pretty much.
I don't necessarily think that Lev. It was a secret that Lev was a girl, and I think it was originally Lev was a girl, right?
Yeah, and her real name was Lily.
Cut her hair off. Yeah, cut her hair off and wanted to live as a boy. Yeah. Another thing people probably had a problem with, but I don't care.
Big time.
I don't care.
Let's see. Yeah, Owen's still trying to work it out with Abby, and Abby's like, get your priorities straight, dude. Like, I'll have to follow Lev to the island where he's going to kill his mother eventually. Met up with many... Whoops. Spelling error.
Annie?
Yeah, exactly. Many... What? Oh, Manny. Yeah. Sorry. I was like, did I have a spelling error there? No, Manny. That's right. Met up with Manny randomly and went through a really cool sniper section where you had to lay on your belly and there was a dude like on a bridge. Maybe that's what you were talking about earlier, Phil. That one section. I don't know. Turns out Manny gets shot in the face by Manny, or Manny, whatever your name. Abby skirmishes with none other than Tommy, ? Tommy backhands Yara and Abby pushes Tommy into the big salty pool. Yara and Abby make their way into the village. A war is in process between the Scars and the Wolves. There's fire everywhere. This doesn't look good, folks. They find Lev, very upset. He killed his mom to defend himself. Guess she couldn't listen to reason. They're almost there when Isaac and the gang kill Yara. Fuck, man. All that for nothing. All that shit that Abby does, and then for nothing. Isaac took that away. Abby protects Lev. Isaac threatens to shoot, doesn't, and gets shot from elsewhere as you make a run for it. The wolves litter Yara's body with bullets, so she's definitely dead. It's just Lev and Abby now, staying alive.
Well, if she didn't go there, then Lev would have been for sure killed by either by their own people or the WLF. So, but yeah, it's could have left Lev and kept Yara safe and just went and maybe stayed around. Maybe if they would have done that, Ellie wouldn't have got to Owen and Mel at all. They would have all sailed off.
This is the other part I didn't like about this game. It's like at this point I was like, this is not the story I want to be seeing right now. I don't care that Abby met these people and like is going here and going there. I wish it would have went back to like had less Abby went back to Ellie, and you'd have like these little parts of this kind of thing. But the whole, I mean, it was like 12 hours long, man. It was unnecessarily long. It's like I did not care about any of these people. I wanted to get back to the original characters that I liked.
A lot of characters, the longer you get to know them in this game, the less likable they become. Almost, they all become. Their motivations are questionable. They mostly kill ruthlessly, and sometimes for not really any good reason. So it does sort of become frustrating. Where it's like, all right, well, I want to see how it plays out, but I'm really not enjoying it in the moment at some points. So. Yeah,
I mean, I didn't mind knowing that Abby's dad was the doctor and shit but I didn't need to know her and Owen's backstory. I didn't need to know all the friendlies. I didn't need any of that stuff. I mean, it was good. They did it well, but it was just frustrating especially because when the peak with Abby and Ellie was happening, it just cut, and then you're doing 12 hours of this stuff, and it's like it takes too long in my opinion, to get back to where we were.
So she and Lev are basically, after they're confronted by Isaac, they have to kill their own. She has to kill her own people.
Yep, pretty much, and they survive all out hell on earth. People get lit on fire. It was pretty messed up. The boss fight had the most brutal hand-to-hand combat I've ever seen in a game. We're surprised this only got an M rating, honestly. Cutting that dude's face open, ouchie poo.
Ouchie poo.
More cool boat music as Lev and Abby roll away.
It was an intense part. There's a lot of things going on at once.
Ride the horse through the fire.
Yep.
There's a lot of, you could do stealth or you could just run through some of it. A lot of enemies to get past.
All right, you guys, we're coming to. I'll go ahead.
I think this was the part where I booked through because I didn't know you could just stop and do anything. I thought you had to get the fuck out of there before everything burned down around you. So I just ran the whole way.
We're starting to wind down here. Meanwhile, at the aquarium, Abby finds out everyone's been killed by Ellie. Abby goes after Ellie, and now finally we're in the present day. Yay!
We're back after 12 hours.
Yeah, pretty much. You had to fight Ellie in a boss fight. The fight was cool, but it felt like I was fighting myself because I was rooting for Ellie the whole time. I don't really think Abby is a great character. She's a badass, but not very interesting so far. That's kind of how I felt.
I wasn't down with beating up Ellie. I was just like, I don't want to do this.
To me, it was a throwback to the first game at the end where for the first time you're like, I really don't like that the game is making me do this and making me fight Ellie because I don't want, And at that point, you didn't know what was going to happen to Ellie. Like, that could have been the end of the game for all we knew. So,
yeah.
Like, I really didn't like the idea. I'm like, am I going to put Ellie down here? And, like,
yeah.
The game is making me feel the same way again. Like, it's making me, like, the choice is out of my hands. It's making me do something I don't want to do, but I have to continue the game. So it's, I have to keep playing. But yeah, so that was the first time I think they got that reaction strongly again of like, I don't want to play this out, but I have to.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Thrilling, semi-thrilling conclusion before the epilogue, in my personal opinion. They duke it out. Dina comes bursting into the room and tackles Abby as she's beating the shit out of Ellie. Dina catches an arrow to the shoulder from Lev. Ellie begs Abby to spare Dina because she's pregnant. Abby turned to her and said, I don't care.
No, she said good, didn't she?
Oh, something like that. Maybe you're right.
Pretty vicious.
Yeah.
Vicious nonetheless. Lev said Abby's name and yet again let Dina and Ellie live. Did I mention Tommy's dead? Yeah, that happened, I think. I thought Tommy was dead at that point, but obviously...
I did think that too.
Yeah, me too. I thought so.
Cut to black. Fade into a farmhouse. Ellie's a mom with Dina. Is this a dream? It's really too good to be true. They seem to have the perfect life, but she's got PTSD, like when she got locked in that barn or whatever with the kid. I forgot the kid's name. And then I was like, oh shit, Tommy survived. We got to hug it out, bro. And then Tommy's just like, yo, I can't fight, but you got to go after Abby. And Ellie's like, nah. And I was just like, in the back of my head, like, oh yeah, you're going after Abby. You're going to give it all up.
Yeah.
She can't sleep.
Tommy,
go ahead.
Tommy was limping because he got shot in the leg, and then he also lost his eye too, didn't he?
Yep, something like that.
Yeah, and he was like, basically, I can't do this, but here's where she is, and Ellie's like, I can't do this, and Tommy got pissed. He's like, that's not what you told me when we started all this, and what blah. But he almost forced her to, like, was Tommy a bad guy at this point? Because he almost forced her into going back and leaving her family.
I don't know.
It seemed like Tommy would be the level-headed one, but he ended up going originally at the beginning of the game, goes after Abby alone, and then which pretty much forces Ellie to go along, and then here guilt trips her and then gives her the information to go on to have any lead. If he didn't do that, she probably wouldn't have been anywhere she could go to like get this information, so she would have had no direction, so there's not much chance she would do anything. So he enabled her quite a bit.
Yeah.
She can't sleep. Ellie can't. And then we go into the cutscene where Dina and Ellie's first kiss happened at that party at the beginning of the game. Just got to have a hard talk with Dina. She's going. Dina knows it. Of course, they break up, and Ellie goes to find and kill Abby what I thought was with Tommy. And I'm like, oh shit, she's going by herself. San Diego. Here we are, back at San Diego, and we're playing as Abby and Lev.
Darrell, oh, never mind. Your camera just fixed itself. I was just going to say, shut your camera off, turn it back on, but it's good.
Okay. We're playing as Abby and Lev looking for the Fireflies, but are caught by this group called the Reptiles. Ellie is also captured. What's that?
Rattlers.
Are they? I thought they were the Reptiles.
No, they're the Rattlers.
Same thing. Ellie is also captured and gets stabbed by a tree after she gets strung up by her leg. Oh my god, dude.
That was brutal.
Right in the ribs.
I thought those were
gets
going to be
caught in the
like
ankle
cannibal
trap.
guys again.
Whoops. 2 Rattlers find her, but she's badass, kills them both. Promises to let one go for information. Remember when I told you I'd let you go? I lied. That dude is really dead. She tells...
Didn't she play the information between the two guys card?
Yep.
Ellie?
Yeah, she tried, and the other guy was like, fuck you.
She gets the one guy bitten by the zombie.
Oh, that's right.
She shoots the other larger guy in the knee. And then she just implies that she'll let him go. He offers the information. She doesn't really tell him she's going to let him go. And as soon as he does, he kills him.
And that's when you get your silenced SMG, and it was great.
Yeah. And you get to the final part of the game where people have armor and advanced weaponry.
Yeah.
And they're bad people.
Yeah, and they capture and torture, and Ellie infiltrates the installment and kills almost everyone. She's frees some prisoners and finds out Abby and Lev are at the pillars and should be dead by now, apparently. Ellie finds them and cuts them loose, follows them to the boats for them to escape, but wait. That's where Ellie demands to fight with Abby after a flash of Joel's bloody dead face appears on the screen. A haunting reminder of her hate and why she was there and what she sacrificed to get there.
When you were looking for Abby down on the beach on all the crucifixes where everybody's crucified, and you get Lev down, and then I'm looking for Abby, and I'm looking for long blonde hair, big buff chick, and then you realize that this skinny, emaciated, head shaven person is Abby now. It was a crazy transition to see how much she had suffered through whatever torture they had been putting her through since she'd been captured. It's pretty crazy. I was like, wow, she's fucked up, man.
Quite a big shift from where she was when you last saw her.
So Ellie forces Abby's hand and threatening Lev with a knife to the throat. And then once again, another super brutal video game fight happens. I mean, it was back and forth.
When you challenge her and Abby's standing across me in the water and she's like, okay, and just charges you, I was like, oh shit, it's starting. I was caught up in the cutscene, and she just freaking blitzes you because she has no choice.
Let's see here.
What did you think of the fight?
Oh man, I felt bad. I didn't want to do it. I really didn't.
I thought for sure when she had Abby down in the water, trying to drown her, I thought Lev was going to wake up and stab Ellie in the neck and kill her. That's how I thought this game was going to end. I was really scared at that point. I was like, oh fuck, here we go.
That's probably what should have happened.
Very similar to the end of Metal Gear Solid 4, if anyone's played that game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But essentially, someone's really beat the hell up, and then they have a final fist fight with a longtime enemy. And it looks like they're going to be, even if they win the fight, it looks like they're going to be dead anyway, because she's beat up, she's got the wound bleeding. Yep. So I thought that was it for Ellie, no matter the outcome of the fight.
And gets her goddamn fingers bit off.
And gets her fingers bit off. But there's another boat. Luckily.
The same boat that we see when you first start the game at the loading screen.
Oh.
Exactly. It all comes full circle. Abby looks weak and skinny and fragile. I didn't want to fight Abby. It felt wrong. Ellie forces... I did all that. I feel bad for Abby. Ellie's just about to win. She sees a flash of Joel playing guitar. And just as she's about to drown Abby, she lets her go and weeps. Falling to her knees, forced to see the good in herself, the mercy that Abby gave to her probably twice. Abby and Lev get away. Ellie returns home to find Dina and the baby gone, of course. And Dina moved out. Her room was... Ellie's room was left intact. He played the guitar, and Ellie plays Joel's tune, but can't play the whole thing because she's missing those 2 fingers as she sits alone in an empty room.
Yep, that was the one that got me, because it was like, God, she lost everything, even the ability to play that song to remind her of Joel. And she just leaves the guitar there. It was like, wow, that's very somber.
So we have a flashback of Joel playing guitar on the porch. Ellie tells Joel to back off and stop being so protective. Ellie comes out to Joel. Obviously, Joel embraces it. Ellie tells Joel that her life would have mattered if Joel didn't save her, but now her life has no meaning pretty much. She tells Joel she can't forgive him, but she'd like to try. Like I said earlier. So that's another flashback. Then we cut back to modern time. She sets the guitar down on the sill, grabs her bag, and walks off into the wilderness. And that's all she wrote, man.
Roll credits.
That's The Last of Us Part 2, the end. I mean, the takeaway, it's a classic story of violence begetting violence. Did Ellie make the right choice? No, but for plot purposes, I see why she left Dina. She could have just stayed there and be happy.
Or Dina could have waited for her. I don't know why you left a perfectly good house in the middle of the fucking apocalypse. Where'd she go?
Parents wanted her to come back to
Jackson.
Parents of Jesse wanted her to come back to Jackson so they could see the kid. And
No.
it was a lot safer without Ellie to help hunt. And I think it probably was safer to go back to the community.
I suppose she would be by herself.
She wouldn't have to figure it out first.
What's your final verdict? What's your final score on this game?
Go ahead, Phil.
I'll give it a 9.3.
A 9.3?
9.3.
I'll give it a 9.6.
Really?
I will.
I'm surprised by that. The way you were talking to me about it on the phone when we were going through it, you're
No,
like,
but
I just want it to be.
No, I did say that, but at the same time, Phil was like, he was asking me the whole time. He's like, is it? Because at the beginning, I'm like, well, this game's obviously going to be above a 9 because it's a masterpiece. It's Naughty Dog. Like, they're masters in their craft. Like, this game is a masterpiece for sure.
I disagree with that statement. I think the first game was a masterpiece. I think this game was a very good game. It was not. I was scared that it was going to be horrible or I wasn't going to like it or anything else, and I played 30 plus hours of it. I did like it. I give it I think I told you on the phone after I beat it, I think I gave it an 8.7. I think it was very, very good, but it wasn't anything.
Phil, you look surprised by that number, man.
Well, maybe it's because you like the game, because you love the first so much that this one, you had a higher standard.
It just never would have lived up to it.
No, I think it could have. I think they just made just a couple, because there's parts in this game that I absolutely love, man, and I'll remember them forever. But there are parts that they dropped the ball. It was killing Joel so quickly really bothered me, and it kind of took me out of it. And then that cut where you go to Abby for so long, that kind of took me. It took it down a notch for me. But still, like I said, it's a great game. Everybody should play it, especially if you like the first one. It's a must play. I don't think it's going to be a game of the year.
Is it the best game on the PlayStation?
No.
What is the best game on the PlayStation? Exclusive.
God of War was unbelievably superior to me. I loved that world. I loved everything about it. But I love the Last of Us world. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm not trying to trash the game at all. I'm just saying it lived up. It didn't live up to my greatest expectations, but nothing could have. So it did the next best thing and was a really good game. That's the way I look at it.
Phil, you're the one that beat it on hard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think hard is not that much harder than normal, to be honest, as long as you're somewhat conservative with resources. The one main difference is when you get that noise when someone starts to see you,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in normal you get the direction that they're seeing you from, and that little white bar or whatever.
Oh yeah.
That's not there in hard. So.
Oh, okay. That changes it entirely.
I knew someone was seeing me, but I didn't know which direction it was from. I had to guess, but they're still fairly generous in terms of how long until they actually yell and see you fully. So they're pretty generous with that. Otherwise, I feel like the breakpoints in terms of killing people or creatures with bullets and stuff isn't that much worse. Melee is still really good, and if you shoot them once and hit them, pretty much kills most of the enemies. So. Yeah,
it didn't seem like the enemies took any more damage than normal or anything like that. resources were way less. I noticed that.
Yeah, I thought since the last 2 times I played were on hard, I guess I can't, didn't have the exact memory of what it was like, but it did feel less. But still, if I was very, thorough, I could have like a lot of full inventory for a lot of the time. So I think it was a good, just extra challenge. It made me feel more like fulfilled, and that I took time to get supplies. Like I felt like it made it more worth it. Because if it was abundant, then I wouldn't have as much incentive to take time to do that.
Look for it.
Yep.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so it added some extra satisfaction there. I
Adds
guess.
the survival aspect to the game where you're scrounging and you're in panic mode a lot.
So you clearly don't think it's a masterpiece, then just above average.
No. Well, no, I think 8.7 is way above average. I think because isn't average like a 5? Or no, is 5 poor?
Well, it seems in game reviews they very rarely will give less than like a 60. So to me, like the real range is like 6 to 10 almost, and then anything above a 9 is like elite, and then
This game's definitely elite.
I think it's and I just visually and gameplay wise, it's very, 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 very good. But the story, I don't know. There were great parts about it, but there was other parts that really, really bothered me.
I think you could definitely argue that a game like this, the story might make up like 70% of the score of the game almost, whereas a lot of games, gameplay would be the main factor, But this one, given the focus on story, I think that it raises to a much higher level in terms of how much you might enjoy it. So someone, especially if someone really didn't like some of the story elements and the big detour with Abby, I could see that bringing it way down.
Why did you guys rate it so high? Give me some points that you think it deserves that.
The animation is out of this world, like facial animation. The acting was out of this world. Of course, voice acting, but I think it did story wise. That's why I was so mad, because it was like pretty much like force feeding me a 12-hour story about why I should care about Abby, and that's the thing that it finally broke me. And by the end of it, when Ellie wanted to fight, I'm like, damn, they actually like made me not want to kill her, even though she killed Joel. Where it was like, okay, not only that, but like the little things, like like you're talking about in combat, where there's so many different ways you can approach it, where if you shoot somebody in the neck, they'll grab their neck, or there's like all these little attention to detail things. Having a dog really helps with that as well, because they can sniff you out, and that's a whole other stealth mechanic that we never really even mentioned, that you had to like navigate on top of like clickers and everything else like that. And I really like that you could have a silencer, so you could take out the owner and then come up on the dog, and the dog would be tethered to the owner. Most times, I thought, or maybe not. I think maybe it depends.
The owner because they were whining or whatever. Most times, I would kill the owner and then just rush the dog.
Yeah, I mean that's what I did too.
Yeah, I don't think you can take for granted the advancements in like the AI and the little attention to detail that just makes it feel way more realistic and adds to the experience.
I think
the
go ahead.
Some of the story parts were the only thing that really brought it
down.
We're
weak. Yeah.
For me, from being like
it's just the fact that they killed Joel so early, and I didn't have more time either playing as him or with him, that really got a knock in my opinion. That's what happened. It was like, that's what I cared about Joel, I cared about Ellie, and that's what I wanted to see. I understand what they were doing, and I understand, it was really brilliant, like Darrell, like you said, where it actually made about Abby towards the end. I understood all of that stuff, but it was just the fact that they did that so soon and took away so much of the game away from the characters I cared about. That was the part that I knocked it for.
You seem to like to make you do things you don't want to do. You know what I mean? Like that's sort of, and it worked in the last game because it was only at the very last second did you, at the end of the first game, you were like, this doesn't feel right. The rest of it is like, yeah, these are brutal killings, but they somewhat are justified. But in this game, a lot of stuff you do is not really justified. A lot of the Ellie killings, she's just going through these areas and just wiping everybody out. yes, with the rationalization is because I need to get to this place so I can get revenge. But how many people did she kill? Really, no remorse at all. And then she comes up, and and she's like a different person in the cutscenes than she is than the one you're playing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The only time she's merciful is in the scenes. Like, okay, you kind of know Abby, so you're almost like a main character, almost like a quasi main actual character.
Oh shit.
Oh.
I don't know what happened there. We had a technical difficulty.
Lost Discord.
Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah.
Hello.
The main thing I was just saying is that there's a disconnect between the character you're playing as and then the character in the cutscenes. And by the end, it makes both Abby and Ellie look kind of silly and bad decision makers and possibly monsters. So by that last fight, I was kind of like, I just don't. This seemed ridiculous, and it's like I came to rescue you so I could kill you. So I just kind of that didn't.
Yeah, it didn't open as strong. The opening and the ending of this game were not nearly as strong as the first. And those are the two most important things. The opening was pretty strong, but it was not like the first one. It was not. There were emotional parts in this game, but not like heartbreaking things like in the first game. To the point where after that opening scene in the beginning of the first game, I came out of the room and told Matt, I was like, I don't know that I can play this game. This is crazy intense and super sad. And this game was more about just about revenge. And like just all people had bad decisions. Nobody made the right decision in this game. It was always bad.
It was mostly just about like flawed people making bad decisions more than anyone else in the name of their own sort of selfish reasons. To be honest,
Yeah.
Revenge or not much. I mean, that was basically it. And then like Tommy, the one who's supposed to be somewhat rational, guilt trips Ellie to go back. Like it's like abandon your family that you made here because I'm pissed off and want revenge. Even though I think he was trying to talk her out of it at some point too, right?
At the beginning,
yeah.
So yeah, did everyone just become an a-hole by the end of the game except for Dina? That's
poor Jesse who lost the side of his head.
R.I.P.
and couldn't watch his son grow up.
Yep.
Ouch.
If you want my best game of the... sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's fine. Go for it.
I was going to say, Bloodborne is my favorite game of PlayStation 4. So.
That's a great game. Game got me into the hard Souls type thing. I didn't think I could make it through that game, and Darrell actually encouraged me to try it again. And I went back and really got into it and took my time. And man, I think I played that. I played that through a couple times too, like 2 or 3 times as well.
Yeah, once you get the hang of it, you could probably beat it in less than 20 or around 22, 25 hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my favorite. But there's no giant flaw, I guess.
I mean, I'm going to be hated for saying this, but one of my favorites was Detroit Become Human.
That's a good game. I enjoyed that game.
I love the cyberpunk aspects. I love how it was like a Telltale game, but like super polished. I know David Cage is kind of a creep, but whatever. I really like that game.
I don't know if that's true.
Who knows? Who knows anymore? My God, we started this at 5 and we are almost coming up on 3 hours now. So
good job.
Thank you.
We got it. Everybody
for sticking with that long-winded introspective.
We're all in agreement that people should play this game, right?
If they haven't played,
I definitely.
Oh yeah, like whatever we said today. Yeah, we spoiled like story beats, but there's intimate moments that I didn't speak of. Like I was very general on the story beats, so I definitely would give this a playthrough, especially like since the new consoles are coming up. It's probably going to be cheaper, probably by like next year. Yeah. So
and up-res and all that other stuff.
Yep.
So.
definitely go out and buy it. Support the creators because they make really good content that everything they make basically just want to play. So
Yeah, they're the standard of a AAA company. They really, them and Rockstar are the two companies I think really put the time and effort into detail.
You sound like an old grandma talking about that one boy that mowed her lawn in the neighborhood. Like, that one Timmy, I tell you what, he's just a good egg. No, nothing. Thank you.
I have nothing to say to that, Darrell.
Wow.
You're attacking me like you attacked Abby in the end of the game.
Ooh, shots fired.
You're holding me underwater right
with
now.
Attack without lethal intent, of course.
Yeah.
All right, Jake, you want to go eat dinner?
Sure.
I suppose. Thanks for sticking with us, Cyberbots. You can email us at cyberlunch1@outlook.com or cyberBotPortal@gmail.com. Also, we have a Facebook page and YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, check out the YouTube channel. Most of the comments, that's like probably the best place to go for the comments because why not? Everybody can see it and you can tell us how much we suck. So,
Phil, thank you for joining.
Phil, you are so insightful. You've been an awesome guest. Thank you so much for coming on. We'd like to have you back at another time, perhaps when the rest of the world can hear your beautiful, lovely voice, and as we don't spoil like one of the greatest games of 2020, which is a shit year.
Maybe we'll talk Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I think it's a must-buy. Thanks for having me on, guys. It was fun.
No problem.
Let's see here. Well, let's just kill it. I'm Darrell.
Yeah, I'm Jake.
I'm Phil.
Thanks
And we're out.
for sticking. Yeah, and we're out.